question about this one. So, like, did they put, like, Vaseline on the camera or something for this episode, for Father's Day?
I don't...
Because it looked like it was like in a
Was it, like,
dream.
hazy? Maybe it...
Yeah.
I don't think I realized that at all. Now I feel like I have to...
It
I don't
looked
know.
a little hazy. Now,
well,
granted,
maybe they did that because it's kind of... Well, I mean, 1, it's old. 2, it's British. 3...
Now it is. It is British. You know how I feel about British production.
I guess because it's, like, her past and, like, memories and stuff, they made it kind of glowy. Is that what you mean?
So, yeah, it just feels like everyone's got, like, a bit of a halo.
Yeah, like a little
surrounding
bit of a glow.
them.
Yeah.
And the Tylers, all 3 of them, are blonde, so that doesn't help.
So then they, like,
because it just bounces right off of them.
Yeah. I think that's just the style. Like, that's just, like,
as was
normal?
the style at the time.
It's hard to say.
The CGI is
beautiful.
Not
it's great.
No. No.
It's fantastic.
No,
I know what you mean.
Fantastic. I know I've made fun of them for that in the past, but this one took the cake.
Yeah. There are some episodes throughout the series where
even further down the line, like when it became popular.
Yeah.
Rachel, yeah.
Like so, when they do the makeup and stuff on some of the aliens later on, they look a lot better.
But
it's when it has to be a weird monster thing that's flying around, and then you're just like, it's kind of obvious, doesn't fit.
I think they could have gotten away with a pretty simple design in this one.
Probably.
Because these things, I don't know if they ever even named them, but it's according to like everything I looked up, they're called Reapers.
Yeah,
just make it look like a big. Just make it look like a Dementor. Just
I think
a big
they
cloak
wanted them
on
to
a
look
thing.
more vampiric because they look like vampires almost.
Or a vampire bat, you mean?
Yes.
They don't look like Draculia.
No, I mean like the vampire.
Let
like,
me in
monster
your
demon form.
Yeah, you mean like a Nosferatu.
Well, even worse than a Nosferatu, like the Spider-Man.
Like a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a.
Not
like
Spider-Man. Morbius, thank you. Like Morbius, when he's like truly his bat form. Like when he looks like a gargoyle.
Rachel making sure that...
That's what it is. It's more like a gargoyle.
It is more like a gargoyle. I like your first reference, though, just to hit that sweet spot of people that remember season 2 of the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon, which apparently includes you, me, and maybe a couple dozen other people.
Oh, it's gotta be more than that. It has to be.
Oh, no, I think... No, I saw... This is a side note. I saw, and I'll start the episode, people were like, now that X-Men 97 came out, bring back 90s Spider-Man.
Damn
and
straight.
I saw some people being like, no. Bring back Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spider-Man!
That one is the one that you should be bringing back.
Truly. That was so good. That one was so good.
Yep, it's on the list. You're gonna do it all at some point. Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast where a brother and sister team always know not to touch ourselves when we go in the past. Did I say a podcast? I'm supposed to say a podcast where hosted by a brother and sister team who know not to touch ourselves when we go to the past.
Saying that, it sounds so gross.
But that's why I said it. It's applicable to this episode, Rachel, of Shelf Life.
I guess.
It's very. But also, we go through pop culture one at a time in great detail to determine whether or not the genre and the subject at hand belongs on your shelf. It's going to be one of those nights, I have a feeling. Belongs on your shelf, be it digital or physical. And today, we continue into our never-ending quest and journey through pop culture. We're on volume 5 of Shelf Life. It's an extra large volume. We're going through all the big hitters here on our list. Not all the big hitters, but a bunch of big hitters on our list. And we are back to bring you the second half of something that we started in volume 3. We continue on our journey here through what, Rachel? What are we continuing here today on Shelf Life?
Series 1 of Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Ooh.
Yes, and we'll be covering 2 episodes of Doctor Who in this episode of Shelf Life, which are...
Oh.
that was Rachel, Mr. Q.
Shut up. Episode 8. Well, you looked at me. I noticed it, but it's fine. Episode 8, Father's Day, and episode 9, The Empty Child.
That's right, Rachel. So for those of you that might be new,
Dances. I never remember it's called Empty Child for some reason.
Well, the first one is called The Empty Child.
That's right.
And episode 10 is called The Doctor Dances.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
That's
next time.
Yeah.
For those of you that might be new to Shelf Life, coming to us, we did the first 7 episodes of Doctor Who. Make sure to go back and listen to those. Let's figure 7 times 1.5, about 11 hours worth of Doctor Who material. I'm guessing. I don't actually know.
Half a day's worth.
That's
great.
I'm just guessing. So we covered that half. We're going to go through the second half here, but we will be complete by the end of Volume 5. We will determine whether or not it has shelf life as a season. We'll determine whether or not any of the episodes individually have shelf life. All that good stuff. Starting today here with Father's Day and The Empty Child. Rachel, Father's Day.
Yes.
What happens in Father's Day?
Rose has a very specific request to go back and visit her father. Specifically on the day he dies, she wants to be with him and be there for him.
It sounds weird but it makes sense when she breaks it down of like why she'd want to be there on the day that he died.
Right.
Yeah.
So we end up going back there and end up breaking the timeline.
Yes, timeline issues ensue, all because of Rose.
Oh yeah.
As per usual.
Yeah.
At least this time at least with this episode, it wasn't like the TARDIS brought them there because something screwed up in the timeline. They go back and they make the mistake.
Right.
So they actually are the ones that cause it. Yeah. So this episode debuted on May 14th, 2005. It is written by Paul Cornell, directed by Joe Ahern. I know I can never say that guy's name. Whatever that guy's name is. Joe, I apologize for not knowing your name, but it looks weird. So, you're going to get what you get. And then a couple of the notes about this one. Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper named this as their favorite episode.
Interesting. I guess just
I don't know
because
if
it
that
has
means...
such familiar, stuff going on in it, if that's why, I don't know.
I don't know if that means for this
very popular
series. Yeah, or if this... Is it a popular one?
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's one of the popular ones. I would say, at least in this series.
Yeah.
In, this season.
Okay. I mean,
Series 1.
I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it once we get to the end. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that for sure.
So maybe they only meant this one too. I mean, Christopher Eccleston only did this season, so...
Right. So, I mean, it would have to be his favorite episode that he was in. And...
Right.
Well, I could see it being one of Billie Piper's too. It's got a lot of character work in it. It's a character-driven episode. Right. There's sci-fi in it, and the sci-fi actually doesn't... Sci-fi is actually doesn't make a lot of sense. It's almost like a negative to the episode of the way that the sci-fi works compared to the character stuff. I'm looking at the notes. Some of the notes are very odd. Some of the notes are like, at one point, Rose was a toddler in 1987. Yep. At one point, we were all toddlers.
What?
So I'm trying to figure out
these notes. I don't understand.
I'm wondering if it's supposed to be like, instead of a baby, Rose was a toddler. It's just a strange note that's on the TARDIS wiki.
Oh,
because it's like, yep, we were all toddlers. It's just a oddly worded note.
I guess
I
think it just means we get to see Rose as a toddler when she was one. I think that's all it means.
I think it's okay, because that's stupid. I thought maybe it was supposed to be like at one point in the script, she wasn't a baby; she was 2.
Yeah, but she was 2. She looked like a toddler in this.
No, she looked like a little baby. She's a bassinet.
Oh, she was a baby, but in the beginning, when they're talking, she's talking to her mom about her dad. She's a toddler.
Yeah, but that's a few years later, though. This is clearly this is 1987 is where they go back in time.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Okay, yeah. That is, she's obviously almost a newborn baby. She can't be that old in this.
There was some discussion about keeping the Doctor out of the script altogether.
Yeah,
that would provide Christopher Eccleston a break through his production schedule.
And you'll see that they do that with the other Doctors as well.
That's interesting.
They do give them. There's like an episode where like some of them aren't like actually fully present. Yeah.
I could have seen it being something where
there's gonna be a really bad one. I can't wait for that one. There's gonna be a really bad one that you're probably going to hate. A lot of people hated it later on.
Hey, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to hate these things.
Really good one that doesn't really have a lot of the Doctor in it. It's very good. It's one of my favorite episodes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So, to go along with what I was saying about the way that this whole episode, I think the entire episode looks like this. So, one of the notes, and this is coming directly from the TARDIS wiki, so who knows what what this means exactly, but it says, when the episode was in the editing stage, it was decided to apply a whitewash to all shots as it visually looked more creepy and dimmer. When it went to broadcast, many fans and critics were unhappy about it. The original whitewashed episode was released in the vanilla DVD release, but full color was restored for subsequent DVD and Blu-ray releases. I watched this on Max. I don't know if that would be the whitewashed version or the full color version. My guess is it's the full color version, but if it's after it was already whitewashed, maybe that's why it looks like that. Maybe that's why
it glows a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a potential. I could see that. Maybe they were thinking like, oh, because the timeline's getting all screwed up and people are getting eaten and like out distorted from time. Maybe that's what they were thinking. They wanted it to be kind of wishy-washy looking.
I thought it was supposed to be more light because it's supposed to make you feel sentimental.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I was like, oh, maybe it's just because it's like a past thing for Rose specifically. But I mean, like, you'd have to do that with every past thing then. It just seems odd.
It's because I think it's got to be because of the emotion that you're supposed to like get out of it. To me, it was distracting. Maybe it was even more distracting watching it live. And folks, if you watched it live, let us know because I didn't like it. Yeah. So anyway, let's get right into it here. It starts immediately, and it almost starts too quickly. They're talking about the plot from like the second this episode starts, which is fine. That's good. But it is almost like, okay, we're going to go back in time now. It's like, wait, what just happened? You almost like join them mid-conversation.
I think you do. I think we do join them mid-conversation.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't like that. I think it's fine. It just was almost jarring because it almost felt like it should be like, can I ask you for a favor? Like that, if it would have started with Rose saying that.
But it does. She's like telling the story about her dad from her mom's perspective that she was given. Right? And then she says, like, so that's the story, so I want to ask you a favor.
Okay. I mean, I see what you're getting at. I guess that's close.
I mean, or do you mean, like, you wanted it to start off with them versus the story?
I wanted it to start off... No, I see how you're framing it.
I don't mind the episode starting mid-conversation. I kind of like that. It feels a little bit more like we're actually like joining in on the journey.
No, because you're saying to do it that way, you'd have to have. Well, I guess it makes it a little more dynamic that way because otherwise, the way I'm saying it is, she asked the question. They talk about the mom's conversation with her when she was little about the dad dying, and then you come back and then. The doctor's like, okay, are you sure you want to do this? Otherwise, it's able to go back and forth quicker the way that you're saying it.
Right. So, like, just starts you off feeling that, oh, this is Rose's past. She doesn't have her dad. You know, she didn't get to grow up with her dad.
Right. Yeah, because before this, we did not know how young Rose was when her dad died.
Right.
We just know that he did die. I assumed before we knew this that she knew her dad. This confirms that she did not know him, that she was a baby. You learn all of the history of the Tylers in this episode.
Yeah.
Rose asked the doctor to be able to go back to 1987 to see her father and to be able to see him die. And the reason why she wants to do this is because, and we get a flashback of Rose with Jackie.
Yes.
And Jackie's telling Rose that it was a hit and run. He was getting out of the car to get a vase, like as a wedding gift, because they were like had a wedding that day, or they were going to a wedding that day. The dad got hit by a car, and it was a hit and run.
Right.
He died like on the spot. Like the ambulances got there, and he was already dead
because nobody saw it.
Yeah.
And nobody was there with him, and by the time the ambulance got there, he was already dead.
Jackie laments the fact that he died before, or he died with no one around him. He died alone.
Right. Which is really sad.
It is sad. It's a sad thing. You understand why Jackie feels, like, oh, like, she wishes that someone would have been there. Mm-hmm. But I think because she told Rose so young, then Rose has it in her head. That's something that she wishes she could have been there for her dad.
Right.
The doctor first asks Rose, are you ready for this? Do you really think that you're ready to be able to do this?
Well, first off, he goes, where is this all coming from? And was this your plan all along?
See, he waits to do that until she messes with the timeline, I thought.
No, she doesn't. No, he doesn't. Remember.
He does? He asks them when they're on the TARDIS? Because I thought he questions her after she messes up the timeline.
Maybe it is. Oh, I guess you're right. Maybe it is.
And she says, yeah, absolutely. And so they're like, okay, let's go. And then that's the beginning of the episode. It just goes right to the... So it's like, okay, here we go. We're going.
Yep.
They go back to see
it was
parents.
A request. He always is asking her where she wants to go.
I suppose that is true. So, yeah, he had to acquiesce to that one. They go back to see her parents getting married in what looks like a church basement at best. Like, where are they? It's like this I mean, it's supposed to be the dynamic. It's supposed to give you the dynamic of what Jackie and Pete Tyler are kind of like, I think. Like, I think it's clearly, like, supposed to be like they're kind of, like, young, they're poor. Mm-hmm. They're in this, like, little cramped room.
Maybe. I mean, it could just be a little church house. It could be just, like, one of the small rooms or something like that. I don't see, like, that...
I mean, it could just be a production thing, but
it's most definitely a production thing, but...
And this is where you get a lot of that halo effect because there's light coming through the windows.
Yes.
And, like, it just glows on this scene like fucking crazy. Right. It makes it just all look like that. Her dad is one of those super British people. Like, if you saw this man in any country at any time in any year, you'd be like, that man is from England. There's no mistaking that.
I agree.
I mean, I'm joking because the British are one of those people that you can joke about because they're the British. They've ruled the world for thousands of years.
I mean, Christopher Eccleston also kind of has...
Christopher Eccleston has that look too, but more of a UK look. Like,
yes.
Like he could be from
anywhere.
Like, UK country.
Yeah. It changes, like, your face shape and everything, too.
I think it does.
It really does.
It's a background.
Mm-hmm. It's not like it's a weird thing to say. It's just you do kind of look like where you're from.
Even in the States, you can look like where you're from, actually. So, Pete, her dad, I refer to him as Dad most of the time because I kept forgetting that his name was Pete. I think it's fine.
Dad, Pete,
so his dad,
same thing.
Her dad is very nervous about the vows. He keeps getting them wrong and stuff.
Yes. And he couldn't get her name right, which was actually kind of funny. Jackie looked pissed.
And Jackie was still Jackie in 1987. Absolutely. So she's like, oh, or whatever year this is, because it's slightly before 1987. And she's just like, oh, for crying out loud. Like, it's close enough or whatever.
Right.
And the doctor's
He's
amused
a bit of
by
an idiot.
Jackie.
He's a bit of an idiot.
Yeah. He is a bit of a dunce, the dad. Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, I do like Jackie, though. I mean, I love her. But she is kind of,
yeah, but she's a ditz. She's a ditz. I do love that the doctor kind of is amused by Jackie, though, because it's just that dynamic between the doctor and Jackie. Like, he actually has, like, a big smile on his face when she, like, is, come off it then, or whatever he says.
Well, he thinks it's kind of, I think he might also find it endearing. It's a bit cute because of, like, how silly they are.
Yes.
And I think he might also be trying to make Rose feel a little bit better about it. Like, look at how silly your parents are. Like, we're at their wedding.
Well, and he enjoys the silliness of humans because he thinks that they're stupid.
Yes, so. He calls them apes.
Which we are. So they decide to go to the day of her father's death. The day of my father's death. She's like, oh, I thought it would be grim, but it's just another day. It's nothing like...
I mean,
like,
it's true.
In her mind, it's like there's got to be storm clouds, and it's just got to be like this worst day ever.
The worst day. Yeah, everybody's gloomy. It's like,
yeah, it's overcast. It was an overcast day.
Of course, it's overcast. That's normal.
But it's London.
That's right.
So,
it's normal. It's just an everyday thing.
Jolly day in July.
But I mean, it's true. It is one of those things where it's like you look at your past and you kind of put like your own spin on it from like your own mood, from everything. Yeah.
He asks her again if she's sure about this, and she says yes. And I did notice as they pan over from this like brick building to where they're standing, because they're just standing by like this brick building waiting for the dad to show up. Yes. There is a bad wolf graffitied into a poster, which again,
it's kind of
we have
like
no idea what it means.
Painted on.
We're running out of episodes for them to say what it means, by the way. We are definitely cutting this close.
Sure, definitely.
We see her dad. They're on Jordan Road. He gets out of this little British car, which is, I mean, it looks like a 1987 British car, though.
It does.
Like, it's definitely got that.
Oh, it definitely has that look of, like, old car.
Her dad has a vase in his hand, and the doctor grabs Rose's hand, knowing kind of what's happening, and I mean, she would want support.
Comfort.
I understand the request, but at the same time, it's like, are you sure you're ready for that? Like, even if you didn't know him, it's like, you're gonna watch this guy die, and you like know that he's your dad. Like, it is intense to think about.
Oh,
that you're
absolutely.
Doing this.
Right.
The hit happens, and her dad lays in the street.
And he tells her to go. It's time.
And she's like, I can't do it. And she doesn't move.
Right.
So she missed her chance.
And like they hang around like on the opposite side of a building, and the ambulances come, and she's like, it's too late. By the time they got here, he's gone. I missed it. And she goes, I have to try again.
Yeah, she wants to try again. She's like distraught over the fact that like she couldn't pull the trigger. I feel like in some cases, like I totally think this isn't Rose's character. I thought that the doctor might kind of shove her ahead though. Like it felt kind of like a go. Like like I could see the doctor being like, "Don't go. You gotta go. You gotta go." Kind of emotion.
Yes and no. I also feel like he doesn't want to push her because this, like you were saying, is kind of like a traumatic thing to have to go through.
Fair.
So like, are you sure? Like, I'm not going to push you to do this, but so this is on you if you really want to.
So they decide to try it one more time,
which is very dangerous.
The doctor emphasizes to Rose that they have literally one more chance at this. And we get a little Back to the Future-ness here because now there's two sets of the Doctor and Rose.
Yes.
And he says they cannot interact because they have Back to the Future rules. In this universe, Back to the Future rules exist, and you cannot see yourself. For time will, whatever the doc says in that, it will cause a paradox, and time will collapse on itself.
I mean, yes, so that's what it is. It's the paradoxical stuff with time travel.
And that's a lot of what this is about, too, is all the paradoxical stuff.
Right.
Well, and I thought...
The dangers of time travel in this one.
They're allowed to be in the same space in time.
Yeah.
But they aren't allowed to see or touch each other. Well, they can see each other, I guess.
Just kind of, yeah. He's trying to make it so they don't even see each other.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, how is the doctor going to explain to the doctor? Like I could say, that could have been kind of cute. Like, I could have seen the doctor been like, she screwed up. And he'd be like, oh, that makes sense. Or like something like that.
I think that would be okay. I think he could do that. I'll tell you this. At some points, the doctor does talk to himself.
Yeah. Well, even looking up some stuff about this episode, because this episode deals with a lot of paradoxes, there's like fan boards and stuff out there that are like, this episode kind of contradicts some other episodes when it comes to the paradox thing.
But it's time travel.
It's time travel. Yeah.
Right.
These rules are fast and loose, folks, because time travel isn't real, so you just gotta go with it. But you want it to be as consistent as possible in the world that you set up.
Typically, yeah. I feel like they kind of keep it consistent within each series.
Yeah.
And then there might be some wiggle room between, is how I'm going to say it. Because that's how I've normally like noticed it.
Yeah.
Those big arcs kind of like keep themselves contained.
Yeah, I feel like you could probably get away with that because each doctor could almost feel like a separate
world.
Rules might be different. Yeah. So the doctor explains that because Rose and Dr. Prime are both standing there, that they will have to wait for them to like move away from the
accident
space. Yeah, the accident.
Scene.
So that because he doesn't want them to interact. And when they do move away, then they're going to have to go. And he explains that this means that this is the last time they can do this, so she has to do it.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
this is it. Yep.
But before the car can hit her dad, she runs out. Going in front of that Rose and Doctor, by the way.
Who look at her like, what the hell?
Yeah. And she pulls him out of the way of the car. So now she has saved her life. The Prime Doctor and Rose vanish because now time has changed. So
has occurred.
So now they've caused a paradox. She tells her dad that her name is Rose, and the dad is like, "Oh, what a coincidence. My daughter's also named Rose." And she's like, "Fantastic name, great name, strong name."
She gets very, like, winded and excited, like, what the hell did I just do? Oh my god, I saved my own dad.
Well, because she has to talk to her dad. She never did get to talk to her dad.
Right.
And she wasn't planning to be able to talk to her dad, really.
No. Which I'm surprised about. Like, I'm surprised, like, she didn't want to just have some, like, random, normal conversation in a coffee shop with him. And just to have, like, an interaction, you know?
Like go back even further.
Yeah, because they went to their wedding. They must have gone to, like, I wonder if they went to any other events, or if she was just like, let's just jump to this, like...
You know, that's actually a really good point. They could have gone to any day so that she could have gotten that, and then they could have gone to this. Because, like, her point of this, of, like, not wanting him to be alone before, or, like, while he died.
Right.
That's a whole different thing than, like, I would just want to get to know him a little bit.
Right.
The doctor looks pissed.
Oh,
which he should be
furious.
Yes, this is angry doctor. He's not happy with her, and like, I don't know, doctor. I feel like, I mean, I knew it was coming to what the plot was.
There's little worms sitting, like, right there. Like, she couldn't. Of course, it's gonna go through her head.
You need to, like, have her, like, clamped down and then be like, okay, now, and let her van go or something.
Right.
Can't let her go. Meanwhile, some red thing, the screen turns red. Like, it's
we're
like radar.
We're like in, like,
we're gonna bomb
a plane
something.
That's about to bomb the building or something. Yes.
Yeah, and it's all red, and it's screeching above them.
Almost kaleidoscopy, too.
Yeah, there's, like, a scene of that for a second. So her dad says that he's on his way to a wedding, and Rose says, like, oh yeah, such and such Sarah something's wedding, and he's like, oh yeah, you're going too, and she's like, yeah, I know a few people that are going to be there. So I think he even says, like, oh, do you know Jackie? And she's like, yeah, sort of. And she's like, oh, okay, well, like, I'll drive you there.
So, yeah, if you know people, like, well, we could go together if you
you're
need
friends
a ride.
if you must be friends with my wife and her friend or whatever.
Yeah.
So they go back to Rose and Jackie's apartment. So I guess they've just lived in the same apartment, like, their whole life, which makes sense kind of when Pete died. So it's like, this is where we live. This is, like, how much money Jackie's gonna bring in or whatever it is.
Sure. Yeah.
Do we ever find out what Jackie does? We don't know yet.
I don't think so. I don't think we ever know if she works or what she does. Not a clue. I couldn't tell you. Not off the top of my head, at least.
Her dad tells Rose that he wants to make a compartment with windowsills. Or, like, windowsills that have compartments in them so that you can put stuff in them. He's immediately he comes off as this, like,
eccentric inventor.
At best, he's Gremlin's dad. Like, that's at best.
Yes. He's, like, half Gremlin's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he wants to be Mr. Peltzer, but he's kind of like this guy that just, like, hawks shitty stuff.
Yes.
Is what it comes across as from the get-go.
He's a very shitty inventor, yeah.
The apartment looks slightly different. It looks like more of what it would look like in the late 80s, even though it's the same apartment. The walls are colored differently and things like that.
Yes.
The doctor is furious, and he looks furious.
Yes.
He will not talk to her.
He's so grumpy.
Like, and she's walking around the entire apartment going like, look, it's his bowling trophies and little health drinks. Mom used to talk about these health drinks all the time and blah, blah, blah.
Yep. The tonics.
Yes, tonics, which, like, it's giving you these little hints that Rose has, no pun intended, rose-colored glasses about her dad because of whatever Jackie told her.
Whatever Jackie told her.
Yeah.
And Jackie, I think, put on some rose-colored glasses for that.
Yes.
She's like, well, I don't want her to think that her dad was kind of a scummy
I think it's one of
salesman.
those.
I'm just going to tell her that he was a good inventor, and he loved inventing things, and, you know, he was still, like, a wonderful guy. And she did love him. She did love him.
Jackie did?
Of course. In her way. Jackie's
in Jackie's
way. It's Jackie.
He finally talks. The doctor does.
When we met, I said, travel with me in space. You said no. Then I said, time machine.
It wasn't some big plan. I just saw it happening, and I thought, I can stop it.
I did it again. I picked another stupid ape. I should have known. It's not about showing you the universe. It never is. It's about the universe doing something for you.
So it's okay when you go to other times and you save people's lives, but not when it's me saving my dad?
I know what I'm doing. You don't.
Because he's accusing her of setting this up.
Right.
He's accusing her of using this as a way to bring the dad back to life. And that, of course, means
it would
that
be
the
kind of
doctor...
hard for it not to. You know something's going to happen. I feel like your instinct is to, like, help somebody.
I think that's what happened to her. To give Rose the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that Rose ever will come off as, like, villainous, that she regrets doing this eventually in this episode. It clearly was something where it was, like, just instinctual on her part.
Right. Like, what if I just stopped it? What if I just stopped it?
But I do think that the doctor had to question her, though. Especially because...
Absolutely, because
not...
she really did hesitate when he said time travel, like, oh, that's it, that's what I want to do.
But as we discussed when we talked about that first episode, I think it's because she thought, okay, I won't lose any time then. I can just come right back here. That's what I think was going through her head.
And if she really did think of her dad and her mom and stuff, I really do think she just wanted to see them. I think she just wanted to, like, see him and, like, watch, like, the little events in their lives.
Yeah, so he's saying that, okay, to come with on the TARDIS, it's supposed to be like, it's the universe doing something. You wanted the universe to do something for you, as opposed to you learning about the universe.
Yeah, like
and all
showing
the time
you
and stuff
the
like
universe. The universe has to do something in return, is what she's pretty much.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's saying, like, you couldn't appreciate it. You just were here to have the universe do something for you. And she fights back against this. And she's like, well, you do that stuff all the time, where you go back and you go into time and you change shit. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. You don't. And she's got a point, but he is also right. Because it's like, the only times we ever change anything is when we're trying to fix something. I really would like for there to be an explanation of why things get thrown off kilter. At the same time, I totally understand what he's talking about, because he only does try to fix things to get back to where he knows they're supposed to be.
Typically, they're like set points in time, and the set points in time have to be what they are, or it can, cause weird ripples, I think, is the idea. And so that's what he does. It gets, like, washy explained in some episodes.
Yeah.
It is kind of like you just kind of understand that is what it is.
Yeah. He says that if anybody should understand that they can't go back in the past and change it, it should be him, because he's like, there was a genocide that I caused. Absolutely. The planet is gone.
And you don't think I would go back and change things?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's like, what are you talking about? She says, well, it's not like he was ever going to do anything with his life anyway. Like, he's just a simple guy. Like, what's the fucking difference?
And that's his point. The ordinary man is the most important.
Because it's just, well, it's the idea that, like, you can't throw anything in the timeline off because you cause chaos, because you don't know what certain things we're going to set up to do certain things. The whole butterfly effect, if you will. So he asks for the TARDIS key back, because he's like, give me the key. Give me the key. You can't have the key.
You're in trouble? You're grounded? In 1987?
Well, he threatens to just leave. Like, he leaves. It's like, you're just going to leave her in 1987, because that would be even worse.
I think he was legitimately just going to go back to the TARDIS to see how bad everything was.
Oh. I thought he was going to
go check well, he might stew for a while, but I think he also wanted to check, like, components and, like, okay, hold up, what's going on? How bad is this that I have to fix?
Do you think he could do that? I guess he could do that.
I think he
could
do
like,
that.
What
Absolutely.
in the future could be messed
Yes. Oh, I guess we don't know a lot about the TARDIS yet.
I don't.
Never mind.
I suppose.
No,
I'm trying to reveal a lot about the TARDIS yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, what we know about the TARDIS yet. I think there's stuff within the TARDIS that would, like, probably help him understand, because it's also a part of the timeline and everything, if you want to think of it that way.
Sure. No, I hear you on that one. That I can piece together. Rose is like, you'll be back in a minute, waiting outside the TARDIS for me. You got the hots for me. You can't leave me. She gets, like, a little petulant fit, like you would in a boyfriend, being like, you're not gonna leave me, I'm too hot for you.
Well, I mean, that is said a lot in this one, too. Like, oh, your boyfriend's mad? Is that your boyfriend? Let me give you and your boyfriend a ride.
Well, yeah, her dad thinks that this is her boyfriend, which is nice.
Which
he
is
doesn't
fair.
immediately go, like, oh, it's this 40-year-old man with with this 19-year-old.
Well, sure. You didn't say, like, is that your dad or brother, so...
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, the immediate assumption is like, oh, it's probably your boyfriend. That's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Is it Doctor or is it Rose that says, I'm going to make you wait a long time? It's Rose, right? Because she's like, I'm going to make you wait a long time for me. You go sit in front of your fucking TARDIS.
I think it
dick
is.
out.
I think so.
You can wait for me.
Oh my god. Probably. Yes, she goes, he's not my boyfriend. Why does everybody say that? Yeah, she has like an exasperated thing.
Yeah. It's like, what do you think, Rose? Why do you think everyone says that?
You're having like a spat. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
The red camera is there again, and it's looking down at the Doctor and some other stuff. And I was like, it feels like aliens. Feels like we got some sort of
I said it's like a predator. I think it's more like Predator in the way he sees things.
I was assuming that it was like some sort of aliens that are taking advantage of the change in the timeline. Yeah. I didn't know what that would mean, but like that's what it felt like.
But they like zoom in on a woman doing laundry.
There's a guy hedging. There's like a bum in the street. There's a woman's doing the laundry, and they attack all of them.
Yes.
Eat them or something.
We don't know.
And we go back to the apartment. Rose is on the couch. Rose is actually tidying up. She's like picking up like chip crumbs or something.
It's like stress cleaning.
Yeah.
I think Jackie probably does it too. I bet that both of them just stress clean.
The dad comes in and is like, you don't have to do that. And she's like, oh, sorry, old habit. Because it's like, it is her apartment. So I think that's also part of it. She's like, I think that he left me. When the dad is like, oh, you're having some troubles now with the boyfriend. The dad says, if I was going out with you, and Rose is like, no, don't even bother with that.
Don't say that. Don't think about it.
Yeah, we're not going with that bit or whatever. And it's like, she goes into this whole bit about it, almost a little too long of a bit.
Oh my god. The man would feel so like, wow, thanks for making it. What it sounds like is like her going, no, I would never date you, you weird, creepy thing. Like, God, stop saying it. And it's like, she doesn't know that you're his daughter.
But that is his reaction. He's like, oh, thanks for that.
That's like, that was a little much.
Yeah, like, oh, you really know how to make me feel special there. I appreciate that. Which, like, this dad is a schlubby dude.
Slimy. He's so slimy.
He's very schlubby.
Ooh, yeah.
So I was not like, oh, he's a good-looking guy. It's like, no, he looks like just a regular
He
schmuck.
looks like a used car salesman or a door-to-door salesman, all right? He looks like one. I'm not gonna lie, he's a bit slimy.
He looks like, no, it's not even a door-to-door salesman. Yeah, exactly. He looks like he's selling you knives, Cutco knives, door to door. He does not have
got that. What's the towel that like absorbs things super well? Like that guy.
The ShamWow.
The ShamWow. Yeah. He's showing you that ShamWow. He's showing you how it works so well and everything.
He's staining your carpet just to show you how his stuff works.
He's got like invisible ink that he's pretending is like an actual thing, and then he's like, "Look at me clean this."
Yeah, that's definitely what we're getting here. I actually wish that it was played up a little bit more, that he was kind of like this terrible, sleazy salesman.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't get that as much. Like, we're implying a lot of this. Like, they don't come out right and say it, but like, it's there. It's there.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
In fact, he says back to her, "Blimey, you know how to flatter a bloke," is how he phrases it.
That is exactly how we phrase it.
Every other word in that sentence is extremely British.
It's a very British sentence.
And they go to the wedding, and there's a bunch of people missing from the wedding.
Yes.
We're inside at this church.
The church is like empty.
Guy that's getting married, the groom's dad, let's call him, is like, "Are you sure you want to do this? You don't have to do this. Are you really sure about it?"
Oh my god.
So we end up learning it's because it's a shotgun wedding, right? Like, that's...
I'm assuming.
I don't think it's real.
I don't think it's like a shotgun wedding, but I do think because she's pregnant, he does feel like, oh, we should be married before the baby's actually born. Yeah. I do think that is probably what the couple was thinking.
And I think, and the dad either doesn't like her or thinks that they should wait a little while.
Yeah, because the
idea.
Yeah, because he thinks that down the road it's not going to work.
The dad must be some so-and-so because he has a 1987 cell phone. He's got and it is a real, like, 1987 cell phone. It's this big brick thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's carrying around, like, he's calling in the bombs in Afghanistan. Like, this is
maybe he's a businessman. He could be a businessman.
He probably is a businessman. It's probably how he probably is, he's probably Pete's boss or something.
I thought you were gonna say the bride knows the dad, like the bride's dad, and that's how the kids met. And I'm wondering. I don't know. You never know.
Could have been. Well, this is clearly like Jackie's friend because she gets out of the limo
100%.
with the bride.
Oh yeah.
It gets cold suddenly, apparently as well. The dad says like, "Did it just get really cold in here?"
Yes.
Before we cut.
Yeah, they want it to feel like spooky. It gets windy. It's a little
doesn't-
darker all of a sudden.
I could
It's got
hear
that gross
like,
glow.
compared to the next episode, I did not think that this ever gets spooky, but I see what they want it to be
A little bit more ominous, I guess is.
Yes, that's the
the
word.
word.
Ominous. Yeah. That's it. That's the one. Ominous. The doctor is walking back and the red thing is above him and is watching him get in the TARDIS. And he goes to get in the TARDIS and it's just a box.
It's just
the
a
TARDIS
telephone
isn't
box.
inside.
Yep.
So the TARDIS has been replaced with cardboard. I guess.
Well, I would say
Is
wood.
that like what we're supposed to...
No, it's
Well, whatever. It's you're right, not cardboard, but like it's just a police box now. It's not the TARDIS inside.
I would say it's just a police box, or it like ripped out its insides, which is kind of insane.
Yeah. He realizes what this means and he shouts for Rose and he runs back. So they're driving to the wedding. Her dad says like, "Oh, how do you know Jackie?" And she's like, "Oh no, Jackie told me all about you. How you're a wonderful man and you're this and that and
Yeah,
whatever."
you're a proper businessman and all of this stuff.
Yeah, a proper businessman. And Pete's like, "Yeah, Jackie said that? I don't think Jackie would ever say anything like that."
What is and then she says, "So you're actually a Del boy." That was one of the words
No
she
idea.
said. So I'm assuming that means like the door-to-door salesman,
Sleazy
right?
salesman. Yeah, it's gotta be.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Del Boy is Derek Edward Trotter, a fictional character from the BBC sitcom Only Fools and Horses.
Okay.
He's like a main character.
That's the name.
Oh, is that
of the
where Lovely
character?
Jubbly comes from? Interesting. Hold on. Yeah.
All right.
Shut up, you tart, you plonker. He's a cheeky character, optimistic.
Cheeky fellow.
I'm trying to find out, like, he adopts some of the mannerisms of a stereotypical yuppie.
Okay.
Compulsive liar. Oh, so I think they are trying to put, like, some parallels with this character from another show.
Okay.
With her dad.
All right.
It kind of makes sense.
I'll take it.
He's a
I
market
suppose.
trader entrepreneur.
Okay. All right. So it's supposed to be like this 1980s yuppie, like a Wall Street type here. Like here, you would have said Wall Street.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a used car salesman.
Okay, got it.
But like an 80s one. He's got like he looks like Matilda's dad from
Okay.
Matilda, if
Yep,
you know what I'm
I got
talking
it.
about. Okay.
Yeah, used car salesman.
Slimy
definitely.
kind of dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
So Rose pulls. No, I'm glad
she
that we,
says
I'm
that
glad
to
we
him,
were
and
able
he's
to
just
figure
like,
that out.
"Wow, thanks." Like,
Yeah.
are you related to my wife? Like, that's what he says.
Sound like my wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
She pulls out her phone, which I don't know why you'd pull out this 2006
She's not
or 5.
thinking, and she needs
No,
to get a hold of
clearly
the
not.
doctor. Oh
She
no, she
pulls
pulls
this
it out
out.
because the music started on the radio, and it wasn't even like something that came out yet. It was like rap.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
rap music, and I think she
Yeah.
got worried, so she's like, "I need to get a hold of the doctor."
Right. So she does, or she tries to. So she's trying to find, like, to call the doctor or whatever. And then on the radio, a man is asking for Watson.
Yes.
Says, "Watson, come here, I need you." I forgot that that's what Alexander Graham Bell said.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the first phone call.
Right.
So I was like, is the doctor calling her Watson? Like, what's going on?
That would be very odd. I didn't even think of that when that happened.
They approach the church, and then the car that was supposed to hit him comes around the corner, and it looks like it's going to hit them again, and the dad veers the car away. They end up, like, almost running into a tree, or they do run into it. I don't think they'd run into the tree, but they almost hit a tree.
Nobody hits.
And
a
the
tree. I don't
car-
know what you're talking about.
That
I don't
they
even think
veer off the
that's-
road.
No, they don't. They just turn.
No, the car's going to hit them as they approach the church, and they have to, like, zoom out of the way, and they almost,
They
like, hit
just
this
turn
tree.
and pull up to the church.
They do? I could have... The car almost hits them, though, right?
I mean, yeah, it's like pulling up behind them. Oh no, I think you're right. Okay, so it happens a couple of times where like the car comes up behind him, they turn a corner, and the car like disappears.
It does
and
come
then
a
when they're
couple
at the
times.
church, it almost like
Yes.
head-on collision, and that's when they like veer, and
Then
she
they
screams,
veer off.
"Dad!"
Yes, she screams "Dad,"
Yes,
which I guess is like, I guess you would, like, you're
Of
not
course
gonna,
you would.
but again, she's not.
You're gonna
She's
yell,
not thinking.
"Pete, Pete!"
Yeah, Pete. But that car disappears then.
Yeah,
It takes over the groom's dad's phone too. So now the groom's dad's phone is saying, "Watson, come here, I need you."
right.
And the dad says, "This day is cursed." Which, like, if he said that in real life, like in the real timeline, as Pete is dying, like, that's a cruel thing to do. First of all, this wedding would have been just scarred, right? Because
Kind of. I don't even know if they I
you're-
don't think they even knew about it until later. So like the wedding happened, and then later
so Jackie
probably
is just in this wedding
Yes.
going like,
Where the hell
didn't
is
even
Pete? I
come to
can't
the-
believe, like, where the hell is he? Like, what is he doing now? Is it some weird business thing that happened? Like, or is he
Yeah,
off with one
yeah.
of his other girlfriends?
some
Like,
floozy, yeah.
Right. So I think she's just pissed off, and then she finds out later he's dead. Like, that's gotta be awful for Jackie.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. Like, how did they go through with this? But I guess you're right. Like, they're not going to probably interrupt the wedding. They wouldn't have found out probably until after
Right.
the wedding was over. If there was a reception or something, like that would have gotten interrupted. But
Yes.
the bride comes out of the car, and you can tell it's supposed to be Jackie here. Like, here she comes. She looks like Jackie, but wearing a 1980s wig. It's perfect.
Oh, I love the hair. The hair in this is hilarious because it's just that
It
80s
looks-
hair.
It's very 80s
It's
hair,
so
but it
poofy.
looks about right. It
Oh, it
looks
looks
like that
great.
is what Jackie would look like.
100%.
Like they did a very
I'm
good job
she
of
still
like,
doesn't
yep,
look like that because our aunts still look like they did in the 80s. So
pretty much. You pick a time and that's what you go with.
that's your
you know?
favorite. Oh, absolutely. And the dresses have like the shoulder pads and the poofs, and it's great.
And then there's also Baby Rose. He's
Yeah.
a little bastard. He's Baby Rose.
Yep, and
So there's Baby Rose.
She's got Baby Rose, and she's yelling at Pete. He's late.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. He's probably with a
Yep.
floozy.
she sounds like Jackie.
It's great.
Jackie's great in this episode. She just fits this character. She understands this character.
Oh, yes.
So well.
Absolutely. Where now he like asks her like, "Why did you call me Dad?"
Yeah, he realizes that she called him Dad, and he's like, "Why did you call me that?" Does she have an answer for him? I think that
she just
Jackie
is, like,
comes
super
over,
flustered.
just barges right
Yeah,
in.
and Jackie just starts yelling and rampaging at Pete. So
yeah. Who are you? And Rose gets to see her baby self.
yep, which has to feel a little odd, but at the
Yeah, I
same
think it'd be
time,
a
you
little
like
weird,
yeah,
but it's a baby. All babies
right.
look
It's
alike.
just a baby. If it was like a kid, it would probably be weirder.
Yeah, that would be weirder.
Yeah.
Because you look kind of like that kid.
Oh well, yeah. I still have my fat cheeks from when I was a kid. Absolutely.
Rose and Pete start arguing, and they imply that he's a philanderer because she's like, "Is this one of your other floozies? One of your blonde floozies that you run around with? This one's named Rose, like our daughter. How dare you, you piece of shit!"
like that's so gross. It's sad and gross.
He's a miserable salesman. He's a failure. You're a born failure. You're just a piece of shit. I should leave you, you piece of shit. Like, that's what she'd be calling him. She'd be calling him a piece of shit if she could.
Probably. But this is upsetting to Rose because she's like, what the hell is going on? Like, my parents are fighting?
Yeah, she never saw her parents fight. So now she's like trying to stop them from arguing. And he asks her to straighten the car up. He's like, which later on they do explain, like, I just tossed you my keys. Like, that's not a thing that you do. Like,
Right.
that, like,
Why
reason,
did I
like, it
trust
was just
you,
like
immediately? Right.
yeah, the red is back, and I actually said it looks like he's about to Terminator 2 the park, because like this seems like
That's
a scene out of
true.
Judgment Day.
Yeah. Yes.
'Cause
the nuke's about
there's
to
a-
like blow.
they're at this park that
These kids are at this park.
yeah. It's just like a park that's like down the street from the church, and these kids are just like playing on the playground,
Right.
and you get the Terminator, the red Predator shot again, like Rachel was talking about, and the kids in the park all disappear because they get taken out by the Predator shot,
Right.
except for this one kid who's on the swing. Underreaction, by the way, because the lady pushing her and the friends are all gone, and he's just like, I guess I'll run off, and just runs off.
Well, I think it was more of like a shock, like, what just happened? I'm out of here.
I guess you're right. Like, maybe as a little kid, you would just be like, I gotta get out of here. And, like,
And just
run
run
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go and try to find whoever.
Rose is upset now because she's seen her parents' dysfunction, but then she also gets to see them make up. So she sees them kind of be, like, more lovey-dovey with each other than after, like, when they're like, oh, Pete, you piece of shit, you're just the best. You miserable prick. Can't even provide for our daughter, but I love you anyway.
Right.
The kid turns the corner and then runs into the church. And I didn't even realize that he was wearing a little tuxedo.
Oh, yeah, so he's a part of the wedding, yeah.
Yeah, the ring bearer or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me now wonder, what in the hell is the dynamic here with this kid and then the family? Because what ends up happening is, I can't remember when this happens, but I'll just say it now.
His mom was pushing him on the swing. It was either his mom or his grandma. It was his grandmother pushing him on the swing.
Yeah.
And then she got.
But he's part of this wedding.
Yeah.
So, like, were they just, like, another, like, friend of the family or something?
Yeah.
Or, like, I wanted to know, like, are they, like,
family friends?
They related to the bride or something?
Oh, yeah, they
like,
could be related to her. Yeah. Or his side. Because these are just friends of, like, Rose and
they're just friends
and
of Jackie
and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense.
But I just thought it was funny because what we end up learning, the kid runs into the church and he runs and he grabs Rose. Like, just
later, yeah.
Instinctively.
Yes.
Rose says, you're going to have to let go. Well, actually, I guess first Jackie goes,
says,
Mickey, get over here, Mickey. So we know it's Mickey.
Right.
So
it's her Mickey.
It's her Mickey. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's her future boyfriend. And Rose says, you're going to have to let me go, sweetheart.
Yes.
And that she didn't,
Which is
she didn't
just...
recognize him wearing a suit.
Right. I mean, he is adorable.
Yeah, this little kid. And Rose says, I have to say that a lot to him, or something of that nature. You get this little Mickey cameo.
Yeah. Right.
But it just made me think, like, oh, that's weird. I'm so kind of surprised that Jackie would let Rose date him.
Why? They grew up
Actually,
together.
I
They're
guess
just like friends growing up together. And if she's
that's
friends
what
with
I'm
like
saying. I think
grandmother or like...
That's where I'm putting it together. Like, now it explains a lot of why Jackie, like, even though she gives Mickey shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because she gives everybody shit. Because that's just Jackie.
Yeah.
But it explains why Mickey is so comfortable with Jackie and like like Rose and stuff, because he's known her his whole life,
it's like
since he was a little kid.
Right. It's almost
like an
family.
aunt.
Yes, I was gonna say it's gotta be like an aunt type of situation.
Which is why then it's weird that like he's dating Rose, but
family, family friend, and you grew up with each other and childhood sweethearts.
Yeah,
and all that.
I guess that is what it is. Yeah. She turns and the doctor says to get in the church.
Yes.
Because this monster is coming in. So this is actually what happens as little Mickey runs into the church, he's telling everybody like, there's a monster. And then doctor comes running down the street and he's like, everybody get inside the church now. Like, we need to get in.
Right. And that's when the CGI happens.
Yes. CGI. So these CGI bats with these giant mouths.
So they have like...
Please explain. Yes, please
Okay.
detail these.
So they have like dragonish bodies, pear-shaped bodies with long tails that turn into like a scythe, right? Or a sickle.
Yep.
That's why they're reapers. And then they have like the bat-like wingy things.
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
And then I don't know how to describe the front part of it, where it looks like it has... I guess it like opens up like an octopus, because it like, and then it has like a mouth in its body.
Now I'm fascinated by the direction.
Well, because it's got. Hold on, let me show you this screenshot.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to describe. I'm trying to describe this.
Okay, so it looks like...
So it looks like it has, like, the head from, like, the Back to the Future... Not the Back to the... It looks like the head from Ghostbusters. It looks way better in
just this screenshot.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because it looks like more real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got
it
Gozer's
looks like a gargoyle.
dog's head.
Exactly, the Gozer head, right?
Yeah.
Gozer dog head.
Mm-hmm.
But the body kind of opens up, and it looks like the mouth of a kraken.
It's got the vagina dentata
It's got vagina dentata kraken mouth with
Sarlacc.
pincers.
Mm-hmm.
And like...
It's got some pincers.
Yeah.
And bat wings.
Yeah.
It's an interesting design.
It's
CGI
creepy.
does not work.
No.
It's creepy looking, but the CGI is very, very bad in this episode.
Right. Praying mantis. That's what I would call them.
Yeah, praying mantis arms.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it looks like it would feel like a gargoyle. So that's how I would describe this thing.
Yeah, you could see them sitting on the peaks of buildings.
Yeah.
One of
Which
the
I kind of wish
original
was. I kind of wish that's what like broke and like
that they came off of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been better. I would have liked
like they
that.
were perched.
Yeah, that would have worked pretty well. I actually saw that the original production design showed that they were just Grim Reaper-like, and I think that would have been better.
Kind of a bit more ghostly, a bit more.
It would have been
figure.
easier, and it would have been a little creepier, because it would have been like Death is stalking them to like kill the timeline. I get that they wanted to go with something unique, and that's Doctor Who, and they want to have unique gleep glops and stuff. Think that it would have been
This
better to
gleep
go
glop
with
is a little too gleep glop,
just a lot of there's a lot of gleep, and quite a lot of glop.
and I think it needed a little less.
Little less gleep, a little less glop.
Yeah.
As they're entering the church, one of these Reapers eats the groom's father, and then another one eats the priest. I actually thought that the end of this episode was going to be the Doctor like marrying off the couple because of another scene.
Oh, it would have
later
been
on,
great.
since the priest got eaten.
Yeah.
This is where I found out that they were called Reapers because the captions call them Reapers, but I don't think that they're ever called that in the episode.
I don't think the Doctor really explains what he just
he calls them bacteria. He says that
because
they're
it's like
supposed
coming
to,
to eat them.
Yeah, he says like it's wounded and like the bacteria needs to come and like clean the wound.
Yeah, that's how he's explaining it.
He says that the older something is, the stronger it is.
Thus, they're inside of a church.
Why
it's
is that?
wibbly wobbly time.
Okay.
You know, time and stuff
Okay.
and things. So Dad gets murdered because he's the older person there, and I don't know why the children got then because those kids weren't old, but.
They're taking everything that they can.
Oh,
so they're
sure.
just taking stuff as it comes.
Right. I think his point, though, was like when the bride screamed at it realized that there was a baby in her tummy. Brand new.
Did he say something about...
I'm just assuming that because of like how
Mm.
he's saying like the older stuff is... I don't know. I don't get it.
It's very weird.
I don't
very
know.
weird.
Because
That's
like
what
the
I'm saying,
church
the
is fine
sci-fi
with the
does
dad
not
and
make any
the
sense.
priest weren't. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is a little odd.
That stuff did not make sense. But that's not what the story's about. They just kind of like throw that stuff
that's
in
just
there.
right.
But that's what I mean, where it's like the sci-fi almost like pulls it down because it's like
Yeah,
this
now
is very
now that you're pointing these
weird.
things out.
He says that there's been an accident in time, and he is telling the people what to do, which is like stay away from the windows, just stay in the church.
Yes.
Like it'll hold up for a little while because the church is very old. And he realizes that Jackie is the one that keeps asking him questions because Jackie follows him and is like, "Who the hell are you? Who the hell do you think you are?
Like, what's
telling
going
us what
on?
to do?"
What are those?
And he's like, "Of course it's you.
How do you know
I'm
my
so
name?"
Sick of you, Jackie." Yeah, he's like, "Jackie, just shut the hell up." And yeah, she's like, "How do you know my name?" And he goes, "I've been waiting a really long time to be able to say this," which isn't totally true. He's been waiting like 2 weeks or whatever long it's been that he's known Jackie.
It feels so much longer.
With Jackie Tyler, it feels like it's been a while. And he says, "Jackie, do as I say. Go and check the doors." And she goes, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Should have done that ages ago."
Because it just worked.
He says he keeps getting a voice for in the phone
On the dad's phone.
The room is showing that like
because
the
he was
phone
trying to
that
call like 911 and stuff, but it wasn't working.
Yeah. This is when the doctor's like, "Oh, it's Alexander Graham Bell," because he's like, "That's what the first call
Very
was."
first phone
And I was
call.
like, "Oh, now I feel really stupid because I should have known that."
Well, that's why they explain it. You know, sometimes they have to dumb it down.
for
They
for
gotta
dum-dums.
let you know.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
You know, when you're like me and you're a big dum-dum, you need to have stuff explained to you. It's fine.
Yeah.
Rose thinks that this is all her fault.
Well,
And
yeah, it is.
And it is.
Yeah,
it is
it
her
is.
fault.
Yeah.
She should go sulk because she just ruined the world. You just ruined the world, Rose. I hope you feel pretty proud of yourself. And you ruined the world in 1987.
Yeah.
We didn't even get things like whatever happens in the 90s
You know, the good
that
stuff
people
that
can
happened
be
in
happy
the
about.
90s. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was trying to think of things that debuted in the 90s that would be like inconsequential. But I know we never got things like Men in Black or Groundhog Day or Seinfeld.
Or Saved by the
ER.
Bell.
Saved by the... We've done a lot of 90s stuff on the show.
We
so
have.
there is quite a lot that we can go through. That if this is what they're trying to do, and they're trying to reverse the timeline, essentially destroying the timeline, this feels like a very inefficient way to do it. If this is like the stopgap to do this, it's going to take a really fucking long time to wipe everything out. don't you think?
What do you
Like,
mean?
The way that they're going to destroy this timeline is by wiping everything out and essentially resetting the timeline or destroying it. Like they're wiping these
You
bad
mean
things are
the
like
bat things, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I thought you were saying like that's what the doctor's plan was.
No, I'm saying like the bad things clean the wound or like reset the timeline by like
Sure.
wiping everything out. I just feel like that would be just totally inefficient because you don't have to do it just for Earth, right? You'd have to do it for like the entire universe.
I think so. I think that's kind of like the idea.
Just seems like there'd be an easier way to do it. That's just me. It's not the most efficient protocol that the world could be using here. I don't think.
We don't know how much of a radius they have to clean.
Oh, like each bat only has to clean
Yeah,
so much.
part of me is like, because they're saying like, oh, they see smoke in the city, so there's like so much happening in the city too. But like, you don't know, maybe they're only going to, they have like a dome and they're like, this is what we have to fix, so we're just going to wipe everything inside of it and like revert it.
You know what? I like that idea better.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like that idea better. That they put it into like quarantine.
Yeah, they quarantined the zone because they're like, hold up, we got to quarantine this very quickly. Take it down because it's going to start affecting everything outside of it. But they're like, we'll just contain it here, wipe it, reverse it, we're good to go.
That actually could help explain what happens at the end of the episode too.
Right.
Because they don't necessarily say none of this happened, but they just don't remember the alien shit happening.
Right.
Because that makes more sense because they didn't like reset the timeline.
Right. They
didn't
snapped,
go back to the.
They came back.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like forgot.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Okay, I like that better because the dad is looking out the window and when he sees that there is smoke in the city and he thinks it looks like the whole world is happening across the entire world, but it's 1987. How would they know? They don't have the internet.
Exactly. And they can't use the phone because now the phone has been broken.
Yeah.
And reverted
car-
already.
Yeah. The car keeps reappearing around the corner, and it keeps appearing and then
This
disappearing.
poor man. Well, you know what? Screw this guy because he did a hit and run. He's an asshole. But he was
a young kid.
I don't care. He hit a hit and run. You get the consequences. You don't just run away.
Yeah, folks at home do not
never
leave
do
the
that.
scene of an accident.
You're a
It's
horrible
a very,
person.
very bad thing. Yeah.
But he's stuck in a time loop, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Okay. Because he's part
I don't
of the
think he
problem.
knows he's stuck in a time
Oh,
loop.
absolutely
I think
not.
it just keeps happening.
It just keeps happening.
We learn later. I thought the doctor wasn't quite sure what to think about it, but I guess he did know what would have solved this.
I think he knew,
Yeah.
and he was
trying to find an
come up-
alternative.
Exactly. He was trying to come up with an alternative way to fix everything.
Mm-hmm. The doctor says don't worry about it to him, and then Rose is just standing at the altar, and her dad comes by asking her how any of this is her fault. He doesn't quite understand that yet. And this is where it comes back, like we were talking about earlier, because he's like, you don't just give a stranger your keys. Like, why would I, trust you? And then he's trying to figure it out, and he's like, and then you called me dad, and then he does figure it out. He's like, I know who
He's
you
clever
are.
enough to figure this out.
Yeah, and he's like,
and you're like Jackie.
Yeah, you sound like Jackie when you shout, which I really liked that when he's like, you sound like Jackie when you shout.
Yeah.
And then they hug. Bride and the groom, they tell the doctor, you seem to have an impression. You seem to know what's going on. And he goes, yeah, I get that impression.
Yes.
I like that.
It was kind of nice. It's
just the cockiness of the doctor, but maybe it's because it comes right after the Rose and her dad scene, but it's almost endearing because it is the cockiness of the doctor, but it's like, yeah, I guess so.
He gives the impression of knowing what he's doing, but he doesn't actually know what he's doing. He's just trying to figure it out.
I think that's it. Yes. He has a bit of humility there for a second. You're right. The bride asks if he can save them. She's like, I know we're not important. And the doctor says, who says you're not important?
I don't know what this is all about. And I know we're not important.
Who said you're not important? I've travelled to all sorts of places, done things you couldn't even imagine, but you two. Street corner, 2 a.m, getting a taxi home. I've never had a life like that. Yes, I'll try and save you.
Rachel, I thought that this conversation was a little out of place, because I wasn't sure what we were supposed to take away from it. I mean, we've talked about how I know I think it's supposed to be a connection of like, oh, these people aren't important, But to him, everything is important because everything needs to be in its place on the
There's
timeline.
no such thing as something to not being important. Even like the most ordinary of ordinary people are going to be important.
Yeah. So I guess he's saying, like, even your experiences
Right.
that are so small.
Those are
and
important to you. Those
Yeah,
your
and to-
experiences, those are important to you. That makes you important.
Okay.
I think that's
Okay.
the whole idea. He's like trying to like be like, no, but see, like, you have these experiences in life, and all of those things are important for you specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so you yourself, you're important, and you're important in each other's lives and whoever's other lives you've touched.
And I guess I'm thinking back to the themes of, I cannot remember what episode it was, but I do feel like that comes up again because the idea is like, you can see all these galaxies and you can see all this stuff. And even Rose is like to Jackie, like, once you see all of it, you'll never want to like leave it and all those things. And so I do think that they do play a little bit with the idea of
You
like
start
what's
feeling
important
a little
to you.
insignificant, but
Yeah, isn't important to them. Because even the idea of like, I'm not going to stop here and eat dinner. I'm hoping before the end of this series that the doctor sits down and eats dinner with Rose and Jackie. I don't know if that will happen because like that would almost be like a completion of the arc that he understands now that the little things
really matter
are
most.
important.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a theme that they're trying to sell here then with this. Because I was like,
Yes.
where's this conversation coming from? Because I get that it's trying to reinforce that the dad was
Right.
important, but I can see maybe a theme forming there.
It might also have some sort of connection with the old Doctor Who's too, I think. I have a feeling it does. And how, because he's, like you said, he's fascinated. He loves humans. He's so fascinated by them. And they just kind of have a day-to-day life. Nobody's like super important. They're just this one world in this entire universe of things. And as a Time Lord, he knows like everything's going on, but he loves humans specifically.
I don't know if I get that impression that he loves humans. I think that he just thinks that they're like funny, that they're like strange.
That he like laughs at them like he's like a monkey in the zoo.
Yeah, kind of calls them apes, like you said.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
But at the same time,
I've
I
seen
think
and know too much
True.
more. So
That's true. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But I mean, it makes sense that your impression of him at this point, sure. But maybe this
Yeah.
is what's giving you more insight into what he's actually feeling for humans.
Right. Okay.
And how
okay,
he actually
fine.
sees them.
Fine, Rachel, you win. The scene
welcome.
had some significance. You're welcome. Do it like Merlin from Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That was very good.
I tried.
Rose's dad asks how they got here, and she explains to him that a time machine, if you can believe it. And he's like, so is there just time machines in the future?
Which is
And
a
she's
fair question.
It's a very fair question. I think we watched something else. Philadelphia Experiment. Where
Yes!
he's like, so is this a new thing, or is this kind of
like
happen?
normal? Yeah. That's
I do like the
true.
idea of someone going into the future or the past and just being like, so does this happen all the time
Is
now,
this just
or
like
what?
a normal thing for you guys in the future? Cool. It's like flying cars. We have flying cars?
We're
It's
never
just
gonna have
everybody
flying
has
cars.
those. There's hovering
Never,
cars.
never gonna have flying cars.
I
Folks
would
at home,
kinda
if you're
hope-
listening to this in a flying car, please let me know. Send me a message back.
Yes!
Like
Time and space. Yes.
yeah, to shelflifethepodcast.
Because everybody has their own time machine in the future that flies.
We've got a Threads and an Instagram and a TikTok. Send us a message.
You know what those
on one
are.
of those. Yeah, they're not all defunct. I guarantee that.
Something
They're all
might
gone.
be.
I hope.
yeah.
I hope they're all fucking.
We
gone.
might have something newfangled thing in the future.
The dad says that his head is spinning trying to figure all this out and asks what the future is like. And he's like, have I gone gray? I haven't gone bold, have I? And she doesn't want to answer him. And she won't answer, so he changes the subject.
He knows.
This is where we learn.
You know that there was
Yeah,
like a
I
crap.
think he kind of figured it out.
Crap. She won't answer
Yeah.
that. Which she
Yeah.
could have just said, I can't tell you about the future. That screws up stuff.
I think it was making her too emotional.
It was
though, to,
very
think
much so
logically.
making her emotional. Everything about this, she's just emotion.
This is when we find out about Mickey. Jackie says that he clings to the youngest blonde he can find.
It's weird.
It's weird, but it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, this is why, too, because the dad sets it up. Because the dad's like, do you have a bloke? Do you have a boyfriend? And she's like, she just disrespects Mickey so much in this series. Because she's like, no, don't have one. And then here comes Mickey grabbing her at the same time.
Well, because I think, yeah, she kind of like is like, well, I'm in an open relationship.
I'm in 1987.
I think it's
not
also one of
cheating
those
if I'm in
things where
1987.
she doesn't want to break up with him fully, and she also wants to stay friends with him because
she
it's
doesn't
like she's
know
grown
how to
up
break
with
up with
him, and she loves him, but she doesn't want to be with him. But he's clingy, is like in her head.
She doesn't know how to break up with him.
Right.
That's her biggest problem.
Yeah.
The dad is like, should we tell Jackie? And Rose is like, no, she like wouldn't understand. She doesn't understand these like sci-fi type nonsense. And the dad is like, oh, no,
she wouldn't accept it either.
She wouldn't accept it, yeah. And the dad is like, well, I just showed her how to record on the VCR. And Rose is like, I just taught her that last week. And
which is great.
Like,
I love that. I love that it's probably like, yeah, she doesn't get it, and she won't get it.
Right.
All right. I've had to teach her that multiple times growing up.
Yeah, and it's a nice moment because then the dad's like, point taken.
Yeah.
So
they like, well, that's true. I probably had to do multiple things too.
You can't tell her.
Why?
I mean, I really don't want you to tell her.
Well, you don't want people to know?
Where I come from, Jackie doesn't know how to work the timer on the video recorder.
I showed her that last week. Point taken.
It is really at this point where you realize this is almost a bottle episode of Doctor Who. It almost all takes place within the church. It's all just about the Tylers.
Correct.
It really is just about the Tylers.
Yes.
I could have seen how the Doctor could have been outside the church trying to get in, but
trapped
you
in the
never see
TARDIS,
him.
you know,
yeah.
something.
The Doctor, I thought it was very cute, is talking to Baby Rose.
Yes.
So he's rocking Baby Rose, and he's going like, "You're not going to bring about the end of the world, are you, little Rose?"
Well, he's good with kids. You don't know this, but he does have kids. He has grandkids.
He has grandkids, according to you.
Yes.
I think in the next episode he says something about that. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yes. I think he does. Yeah.
Tells Big Rose that Jackie gave her to me to look after. He says something about, like, times change, I guess, or something like that, where it's like...
Oh, you trust me with the baby, but you don't trust me with the adult.
Yeah, with your adult daughter. And he won't let her touch the baby. And he, like, explicitly is like, don't fucking touch the baby.
Because he even says, like, it could cause paradox. It could let those things in. Let's not fight fire with fire here.
Yeah, like, while I'm trying to figure out what an alternative to solve this problem.
Yes.
And they start fighting with each other.
Because I do feel like he's kind of thinking in his head, is there a way I can keep your dad alive for you and save the rest of the world?
I think he is trying to figure that out.
Yes.
He knows that's not possible, but I think he's like, well, she already fucked it up. So is there like a way that I can just keep this going and it work?
Yeah.
But he knows that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think he does. He's trying anyways.
He tells Rose that I wasn't going to leave you. And he's like, but between the two of us, I don't have a plan. So it's one of those rare times where he's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do.
Right.
So he says that only places that are really old are going to be left. Because for some reason, I guess because they have to reset to some time, so they are going to be able to reset to like a point in time where like only a bunch of really old shit is going to be left.
I don't know.
Again, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. At least you gave a plausible headcanon theory that it's like quarantined off into a section, even if it's all of England or something.
I think he
even
says,
if
like,
they're
the
under
Earth
the dome
is sterilized though at this point, so maybe it's just Earth is under the dome.
Yeah,
we'll just keep. You know, it's just the human race.
Which still,
it's a lot,
something.
but I mean, it's they're time dragons, so like, why not? Or time bats, so they can do whatever the hell they want. They can go wherever they want.
Time dragons would have been a better term.
I kind of wish they were dragons, but they're.
He could have been like, my people kept them. They were time dragons.
Oh, I would love that. Dragons are real, and it's like, so that's why some humans actually remember them because they've had to do this before, and so they've added them to fantasy and folklore.
Yeah,
and stuff.
if there is not to do the MCU
better.
equivalent of it, but if it's like if a variant happens on Gallifrey, they like send out the time dragon to like kill the variant, and that's when a human sees a dragon because sometimes they get seen.
See, that would have been so much better. Good job,
like
us.
Yeah, if we can go back in time and fix that.
Good job. Give this...
Good job, us. You're not getting bits through Father's Day, but you're getting something like that. Gold, Rachel, it's gold.
It's all gold.
He talks about how that there were laws that would have stopped this, and that his people would have stopped this. They would not have allowed this to happen. They would have found like some other alternative to be able to fix the timeline.
Yeah, they probably would have just killed the human race.
I think he would. Yeah, Doctor, I hate to tell you, but they probably would have done the exact same thing, or at least similar.
What is your impression of Time Lords so far? Of what they were and are?
So the only things that I've seen of them are their costumes, which looked elaborate and goofy.
Yeah.
And I assume that they were a lot like the Kryptonians in a way.
Okay.
Where or to go back to Marvel, a little bit like the TVA in Marvel, where it's like, no, everything has its place and you can't like deviate from the timeline, and like they're almost like the police of the timeline.
Okay.
But they end up getting a little too big for their britches or something. Like I'm trying to figure out how the Daleks could be their natural enemy outside of like just wanting to kill everything. But is there more to it than that? But outside of that, that's like kind of where I
no, I'm
now.
just curious because it's now like an outsider's point of view. You're just coming into it, so I'm always curious to see.
I think all I've seen so far are their costumes, which looked like Polynesian luau outfits with like.
All right.
I don't know. I can't remember what picture I've
more
seen.
More like Star Warsy, but okay.
I don't know why that's what I think of when I think of.
I'm looking to see if there's anything that has like feathers. Usually it's all like metal. It looks like metal. But I love that. I love this crazy feathered beings.
Yeah, it is like metal. Yeah,
you're looking them up
You know
now.
what? You know what? They do all kind of look like Padme.
Yeah,
they do all have a Queen
looks.
Amidala like look to them. Well, whatever. Maybe that's why, because there was a big headdress
it's
on
just
it,
a
and for
big
some
old
reason.
like head piece. Yeah.
Anyway, so after they're done fighting, he just says, "Can you just say that you're sorry?" And she does. And he smirks at her, and then they hug. And as they hug, she's like, "Ooh, your like chest is all hot." And it's because the TARDIS. This makes absolutely no sense, at least to me. The TARDIS key is burning hot, and he picks it up as it's glowing, and he says that means that the key is still working, and it's somehow connected to the TARDIS. And I'm like, but why is it really hot then? Like, what does that mean?
Probably because it's trying to find the TARDIS, or it's like trying to connect with it.
It's like when your phone's trying to find Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
all right.
I like it.
That's fine.
We'll keep it that way. That's perfect. Your
Okay.
phone's just constantly trying to hit Wi-Fi. It's heating up. It's the key trying to find the TARDIS.
He develops a plan because of this, and he says that he needs a battery, and they are able to use the 1987 brick phone. Rose's dad comes in again as they're like kind of sitting here because like the doctor's got a plan now, so they're all just kind of sitting around and they're like waiting for the doctor to solve this plan, which the plan is he's going to get the TARDIS to show up via a battery sitting on a chair or floating. I think it was sitting on a chair though.
The battery is sitting somewhere. The key
he's got,
is
like, the
floating.
key floating.
Because it's like the TARDIS wants to show up and it's actually trying to fit
Yeah,
into the
and it's
keyhole
trying
at
to-
the point where it would fit.
Exactly, yeah.
So the TARDIS is also probably calling for the Doctor and the key. If you want to think of it that way, the TARDIS is also trying to get back to him.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
they're both trying to reach each other.
Okay.
And so he's making it where this is. I don't know if any of
Right.
this is explained, but I would think that it's kind of like, oh, he's making the connection stronger by using this battery and the
right.
you know. And his sonic
Yeah.
screwdriver because, you know, magic.
Sci-fi
and-
mumbo jumbo bleep glop nonsense. Thank you.
But I think that helps to understand how they're actually trying to like merge
They're
into
trying
the same
to
place.
connect
Yeah,
metaphysically.
and it's
back.
trying to like get back into the time because it was ripped out by the monsters.
Pete comes and asks Rose why they came back, and she's like, "It was a coincidence. We just came here. We travel around. We ended up in 1987." And he's like, "But 1987, like, why 1987?"
Yeah, what happened
And
in
she-
1987?
Yeah.
No.
And she lies to him. Nothing happened in 1987. So she lies to him because he asks, "Are we still together?"
Right.
And she says, "Yeah." And he asks if she still lives with them, and she's like, "Yeah." And she then lies by telling him fake stories because he's like, "Am I a good dad?"
And yes. And she think it's all her what ifs if he was actually there with
it's
her.
what
This is
she
what she wanted.
Am I a good dad?
You told me a bedtime story every night when I was small. You were always there. You never missed one. And, you took us for picnics in the country every Saturday. You never let us down. You were there for us all the time. Someone I could really rely on.
That's not me.
And he goes, "You're lying," because he knows he's kind of a bum.
Yeah,
So
that he would not have been a good. They would have been divorced if he would have.
I think that's
alive.
also it too. He's like, oh, God, I'm surprised we're not divorced in the future.
Although I don't know, there's something very
There's
tender
something
about their
about
dysfunction.
them. Yes.
We should say Sean Dingwall is playing Pete Tyler in this as Rose's father.
Oh, okay.
Rachel, I didn't want to ask you if he comes back or not because I'd want to be pleasantly surprised if he does.
Okay.
But you just wink at the audience and let them know if he comes back or not.
You want me to wink at them?
Yeah, you can just let them know. You can let the folks at home know if he comes back.
All right, folks at home, I'll wink or not. What do you think it is? Because you can't see me.
I feel like he probably does. I bet he does when Billy Piper leaves the show. I bet there's at least one more episode where he comes back.
Find out.
Years from now on Shelf Life. Yeah, definitely, because once Billy Piper leaves the show, then he wouldn't come back. And I think she sticks around for a while, doesn't she? How many series does she do?
Do you want me to tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay. 3.
She does 3. Okay.
Yes.
So she does 2 with Tennant and 1 with Eccleston.
It's 2 with Tennant, right? Eccleston, Tennant. Is it
plus 2, plus 1.
Stop
plus
it.
1.
I'm trying to remember now. It's 2 or 3.
Because then the cute girl comes in, right?
No, not for a while.
The brunette, she doesn't come in.
She does not come in yet. No, she's like
I'm not going to get to see her for a while. What's her name? Jenna Coleman or something like that? I know the actress's name, yeah. Not that Billy Piper isn't cute. Billy, you're cute.
I think...
I know you're listening. Just do have a lot of mouth acting going on, that's all.
Oh, yeah. So she's in 2. She's in 2 seasons. She's in 2 seasons.
Interesting. I'm kind of surprised that she wouldn't do more than the 2 because I feel like people have to like Billy Piper as Rose, right?
Love Rose.
Okay.
Rose is a lot of people's favorite companion.
Okay.
Yes.
I would hope so. It feels like that should be the case. Okay.
I feel like I shouldn't tell you too much stuff. I'm trying to be like...
No, yeah, I don't think I need to know. Okay. So...
I kept thinking it was 3 for some reason. I was like, that doesn't feel right all of a sudden. I was wrong, so it was just 2.
So the dad has figured it out. He knows that he's supposed to die. The dad's like, we have to kill me. Like, we have to just, like, have me die.
let me die.
Yeah. And the doctor's like, it doesn't work that way. This isn't your fault. Jackie overhears this and gets started fighting. And eventually, because Jackie is holding Rose and wants to fight with Pete,
right,
she hands Rose to Rose.
No. So what happens is they're fighting and Pete goes, "Oh my God, Jackie, how do you not see that this is your Rose? Look at them together," and hands Rose to Rose so that she can be like, "Look at them
that's
together."
What happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very silly.
Yes, and because of that, the paradox occurs, and the Reapers are able to get in, and they start busting down the big stained glass windows of the church. Right. And the doctor hides everybody behind him.
He sacrifices himself, thinking it's going to, I guess, give them time.
Well, I think because Pete and Rose have kind of figured out what really needs to happen.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm thinking, I'm going to give them time to do this by being eaten first.
Yeah, because
I think that's what it is. I think it has to be.
I guess so, because otherwise it's like, Doctor, you're kind of the only dude that can fix this. So if you sacrifice yourself, you're killing all the rest of them too.
That must have been their way of potentially having him not be a part of this was like he was going to be one of the persons.
That's what I figured. He was going to get eaten at the beginning.
Yeah. And then
the
Rose
doctor
has to figure it out.
The doctor gets eaten, and the key falls to the ground, and Rose runs to it, but the TARDIS is already gone. And Rose believes now that she truly did end the world. This is where a commercial break would have happened if
100%.
BBC had commercial breaks.
Yes.
Her dad sees the car emerging and leaving again, and he gets an idea. Gets a hell of an idea. It takes a little too long, I thought, of a linger on him. I saw some reviews that said that they really liked this scene. But he goes into the rectory again, and he sees the car turning the corner and disappearing again. And he understands that he's supposed to...
Well, because he doesn't know how he died. And then he goes, wait a minute. Is that when she hit me? Is that when I died? Is that the car?
So, like, he's figuring it out. And he has to, like, also gain the courage
to go and get himself killed.
I just thought that it could have been a slightly swifter, because he looks, it takes a while, which I think that they're just letting the actor breathe with it and like it do it. It felt
like a lot of emotion happening.
Yeah, it felt like today they wouldn't have lingered as long.
Probably
so
not.
I could see the positive and negative on that, but anyway.
I see what you're thinking, though. I understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's
Absolutely.
a while. It's a long little scene.
Yeah.
I thought a fairly decent camera angle because it's Rose in the foreground. It's like this destroyed church in the background, and then the dad is slowly walking toward him or toward her.
The coloring, and also like just like seems more like it was sucked out of this scene, and it's a little darker.
Might have been one of those scenes that got whitewashed, and they just left it that way.
Oh yeah. But I mean, it kind of feels like it should be at this point, because if like more stuff is being destroyed in the world and the timeline, I don't know, it just feels like it would become duller.
And the dad comes up and he talks to Rose, and he said, if there was another way, great, but there isn't another way. Your doctor was trying to figure out something, but he's gone, and he knew what I have to do, but he didn't want to do it because he wanted to not...
Because he wanted to protect
hurt
her.
you.
Yeah.
So he's like, that car really should have killed me, and it's here. Keeps rounding the corner, just waiting for me to show up. Rose is like, I don't want to do this. And the dad's like, well, the doctor would have stopped me, but he's not in charge anymore.
Right.
And he tells Jackie...
He says, I'm your dad. I have to do this.
Yeah.
And
he's
it's
saying,
that part
like,
hits.
Because he's saying, like, I didn't get to be a dad to you. I didn't get to be a good father.
So
and he's
I'm
like,
gonna
this
do
is
it
my
right
chance.
Now. This is his moment.
He tells Jackie to look at her, and Jackie realizes it.
Yes, or she sees her.
She sees it, and then they hug, and I was like, that is strangely touching.
It is, though. You can feel it. And she's like, oh my god, you are my daughter.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying, like, Jackie...
Oh, she's
Who's
great.
the actress that
That
plays
actress
her?
is wonderful. I don't have it up. I don't have
Camille,
any of their names.
Camille Kaduri really sells it in this
She's
scene.
fantastic.
I'm meant to be dead, Jackie. You're gonna get rid of me at last.
Don't say that.
For once in your life, trust me. It's got to be done. You got to survive, because you got to bring up our daughter.
And
They
she's
kiss.
not okay with it. She's like,
No.
don't you ever say something like that, because that's not true.
Yeah, and this is where he says, like, yeah, I was never there for you, but I get to be your dad now.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got some extra hours to be able to see you. And the dad goes outside. He waits for the car. He takes the vase with him.
Yep.
Which I guess he figures he had, like, he
keeps
was
the
holding
moment.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, that's the timeline. I put my jacket. This was like, I'll put my jacket back on. I'll have the vase. Like, this is what has to happen.
I wouldn't have remembered. I would not have remembered like 5 hours ago when I picked up out of the car.
Absolutely not.
He gets hit by the car, and the Reapers immediately disappear. The doctor is back, because I guess all the people come back immediately where, like, they were supposed to be.
Yeah, I think
or
it's
where
like,
they
it's
were.
like, oh, okay. So it just starts, like, popping everything back. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, good. This is what needed to happen, because now
Yeah.
the timeline
Again,
is back to where it should
very,
be.
very flimsy on how the doctor
Yeah.
just suddenly pops back in. But...
Yeah. Maybe it's
And
maybe it's in reverse order. You know, it's like the wands. It's reverse order of who gets to come back.
And he sidles up to Rose and he says, go to him, quick. And then she runs to the dad where he's dying. The score is even better. I've been kind of down on the score for most of this series, to be honest with you. It's very, very sci-fi goofy.
Yeah.
I thought that it was very good in this episode. It fit the tone a lot in this one as well. And then he dies looking at Rose. So he gets to see his daughter as he dies.
It's very sad.
Then, because of the weird change in the timeline, they all exit the church. So we cut back to Jackie telling little Rose the story of her dad's death.
Right.
which is now it changed from a hit and run to this kid waited for the police.
Yep.
And she goes like, it wasn't his fault, it was Pete's fault. He ran out, and they don't know why he ran out.
We don't know why
So
he ran out.
they essentially think that he committed suicide, I guess.
Well, I mean, he ran out, and he just, like, they were like, he just ran across
Jumped
the
in front
street
of the
and got
car.
hit. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't think they thought he committed suicide, but I think it's more of like, he had, like, he knew something had to happen, and he ran out for some reason and got hit when he ran
or
across
needed
the
to get
street.
to something.
Yeah, like
who
he was
knows?
just running to the car.
And they say that there was a girl that held his hand, and then she was gone. And they don't know who the girl was, and like they never
And
were
she
able to
wishes
find
she
it.
knew, because she was like, and either she wants to smack her or she wants to thank her. Because it's
Probably
Jackie.
both, knowing Jackie. Then we go back to the scene, and Rose and the doctor, which has to screw up Rose's head too, right? Because now she knows both stories.
Of course, yeah.
You know, because like
Yeah.
little Rose is being told that now as a little kid, but
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
she knows. So that's got to be like, that's the paradox, I suppose, of
Yep.
the whole thing.
I think Rose herself taking any human out of their timeline and allowing them on like a space travel time ship, I feel like has to cause a paradox.
Yeah, and they're all getting cancer and stuff anyway.
Oh,
so-
absolutely. Yeah.
So
You can't go through that time vortex without getting cancer.
yeah, that wormhole just looks filled with radiation. Folks at home, if you hear fireworks in this episode, we are once again recording this on our nation's birthday. So you might hear some loud booms. It's just the TARDIS crashing
Oh
constantly.
yeah. Yeah.
We have our own TARDIS.
It's how we
That's what I
get
could've
through
made.
all of this. We have to
That's
we
where
are
if I
on the
was,
TARDIS to get through all of this.
And they head into the TARDIS hand in hand and leave, and that's the end. It's a very abrupt ending.
That's it. Yep.
Very, very abrupt.
Yeah.
So that was Father's Day. Rachel, what did you think of Father's Day?
Do you want me to go first?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm supposed to go first. It's Doctor Who.
Well,
I'm
I mean, I
sorry.
can go first.
No, you're right. I am
was
supposed to
just
give
trying
you
to
my
think of what I
impressions.
wanted to say, but then I was like, oh, but am I going to sway him by saying anything? I don't want to do that.
No, I'll go first. I forgot that I usually go first with Doctor Who. So first, the pacing is a bit weird in this one. A little bit weird.
Okay.
And the sci-fi stuff is a little who's it's, what's it's, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the glow halo thing that they put on it, trying to make it look sentimental, and it just makes it look funny.
Right.
At least to me. I'm sure most people don't see it, but I saw it, and it was weird looking.
I pretty much just ignored it.
I mean, that's what 95% of the people probably do. But damn, that one was good. Very, very good episode
Mm-hmm.
of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
They've made these characters work very well. So I am not a fan of a lot of the sci-fi who's it's whatsums BBC cheapo shit that is in a lot of these Doctor Who episodes, but they have made Rose and Jackie work so damn well. I've been calling him Bugs Bunny because I think he is a Bugs Bunny character, but the Doctor worked so well in this episode. It really, really was great. And it made you care about the characters.
Yes.
It fit the characters.
Mhm.
They all acted like themselves. They all had a strong connection with each other. I thought this was excellent. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I like it. No, I love a good character arc. I love a good give me more information about the family and bring in more interest and info about them. I like that. I like that stuff. So this was, to me, a really good way of doing it and an interesting way of doing it. And yeah, the Reaper's a little odd, a little kind of
That could have been stronger
stretched.
or something
Yeah.
different. I don't know what, but that they weren't the focus
I
of
like
the
the
story.
idea of what they're doing, but at the same
Yeah.
time, yeah, because they're not the focus, it also just felt like a little bit of like, yeah, that's happening in the background.
It's happening.
Don't worry about it too much because you're supposed to be focusing on the family. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, I am focusing on the family, so this weird stuff that's happening is kind of confusing and like distracting.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, I agree. I think it is a nice episode. It's not like one of my top, but I do enjoy this.
What did you
one.
think I was going to think about this one? Because I don't want to give away my rankings or anything, but I truly do think like this could be one of the strongest ones I've watched so far.
I kind of figured it was going to be one of the stronger ones for you.
Okay.
And I think that's mostly because I kind of know the Community's thoughts on a lot of episodes, and I'm like, this is one of the stronger episodes for them. And I know which episodes are stronger in series 1 from my own opinion, and from what others think as well.
Yeah,
and
because
the second half of the series 1 is a lot stronger than the first
picks
half.
Up.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell, you can feel that already. Like,
yes. Well, and with the, because I've watched episode 9 as well at this point, so yeah, I can agree with that, because it just was, I was like, I can't believe it, but they've actually made me feel for Jackie and Rose Tyler.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is the actors.
Yes, and they're great.
It really is. A lot of it is the actors. They fit these roles perfectly. It actually made me wonder, like, okay, have I been understating Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor? I don't know why I think that, but after these couple of episodes, I'm like, oh, maybe I was like, maybe he's starting to find his groove too as the Doctor, which kind of sucks, because if that's the case, then he's only got like 5 more episodes as the character.
And now you'll probably find out why people are like, why the hell did you leave? Like,
yeah. Because
why did you only say you'd do 1 season?
Yeah. But anyway, that is Father's Day. In my opinion, folks, you can probably go watch that one. Although I don't know if you don't see the rest of them, if it has the same connection, because you don't know Rose and Jackie.
That would probably be a more of an issue with it itself. It's not a standalone, and quite a few, not all, definitely not all, because a lot of it is all arcs and kind of play into each other. But there's some episodes that are kind of standalones. This one I wouldn't say is one.
Not on its own. If you know the characters, you can go back and watch it. But I think if you don't know them, you'd have to find another way around it. When we come back, after a word from our fake sponsor, we will get into the next episode of Doctor Who, The Empty Child.
Yeah. Sounds creepy.
Will Doctor Who escape this time? Buy Wool's new shape Skyray with double flavors of raspberry and orange. And you get a free color picture card, one of a series showing Doctor Who and the Space Raiders battling with Daleks. Free when you buy Wool's new shape Skyray. Only 6 months.
And we are back with another episode of Doctor Who. This time, Rachel, what is up in the TARDIS?
What is up in the TARDIS?
I don't even know what that meant. It didn't make any sense. What episode are we talking about right now?
We will be talking about episode 9, The Empty Child.
Yes, The Empty Child. And Rachel, what happens in The Empty Child?
The Doctor and Rose are chasing down something they saw in the vortex, and it takes them back to the London Blitz.
I was so confused in the first minute or two before the opening credits, because I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
like, I had no idea what the fuck was happening. It was so confusing. Yeah.
But at the London Blitz, something weird happened, and now there's a child walking around asking for his mummy.
Yes, he wants his mummy. Yeah,
mummy.
So we got mummies again. We had the mummy.
Mummy!
A few weeks ago we did the mummy. We're doing the mummy again.
Are you my mummy?
Oh, you gotta love the mummy, that they say mummy. Why is that? I guess it is just because of the way they say mummy.
Mum? Yeah. Mummy?
Mummy.
I don't know.
They probably think it's weird when we say ma. We say ma a lot.
Ma. Mom.
This episode debuted on... Sorry, I'm looking at the main setting and I'm like, did not debut on January 20th, 1941. This episode
it did.
This episode takes place on January 20th, 1941. It debuted on May 25th, 2005. Written by Stephen Moffat. Probably Moffat. That sounds like a more British pronunciation, like Moffat.
I think I've always said Moffat. But maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Muffet? I think you're right then.
Yeah.
Muffet.
It had to be. That's way more British to be able to say Moffat. It's one of those words that I've only ever read and never said.
Yeah, that happens to be a lot. Especially with like fantasy novels and stuff, and then all of a sudden you hear it out loud and you're like,
the worst.
What?
It's the worst when you get a name wrong from a novel.
That's what it is.
Like, I don't remember why I was watching this, but Kevin Smith was talking about Doctor Strange, and he was talking about Dormammu, and
Yeah,
he kept
Dormammu.
saying Dormammu because it was before Doctor Strange came out, and I was like, it's not Dormammu, it's Dormammu. Why do you keep saying that?
Dormammu.
It was really bothering me, and I was like, Kevin Smith, I know, speaking of Spider-Man from the 90s, Dormammu was in that Spider-Man, and that's why I know it's Dormammu, and he just
Of
kept saying
course.
Dormammu, and I was like, stop saying that. And I know that there's been, like, things where I've done that, so
Oh,
yeah,
I feel like I've done that so much. I know there's been books where I've like, oh god, that's not how
and then
I've
it, like,
read
bothers
that.
you, because it's like, that's not the pronunciation.
Yeah,
like,
because you're like, but I read it. I know what
Yeah.
it's pronounced like. And you're like, no, you're just wrong. You're just
no,
wrong.
you're just an idiot. And it was directed by James Howes. So, a little about this one, Rachel. It is the introduction to Captain Jack Harkness.
Correct.
I have not read a lot about what happens to Captain Jack, although
I hope you haven't.
the only thing I know is that he's also in a spin-off of Doctor Who. I don't know if you can tell me what the spin-off is, but, like, there's a spin-off?
I shouldn't.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you about it.
Okay.
I feel like I shouldn't. Because it's one of those things where it's like a spin-off, but it also is connected to story.
Okay.
So I can't.
So you have to
I
wait.
feel like I shouldn't.
I think that's fine. I think that's very
Okay.
fair.
I don't even want to tell you what it's called. I don't want to say
No,
anything
I
about
feel like
it.
I've seen it, and I can't.
You
it's like
probably
it's
have.
like Richfield or Pinchfield or some such shit. I don't remember.
Do you want me to
It's
say
not
it?
like one of those names. Yeah, go for it.
Torchwood.
Yeah, okay. Torchwood.
Okay.
See, I was close. Pinchfield, Torchwood.
Pitchfield and Torchwood.
It could have been a farm and Animal Farms. That's all I'm saying.
All right, fine. Just
So,
remember it as a farm.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get right into.
The spin-off, I don't think it happens for a while, so that's why I don't want to say anything.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. This episode features a creepy little kid. This is this is your creepy little kid episode of Doctor Who.
That's correct. Might not be the only one. I don't
Might
know.
not be the only one. As the opposite of that first episode that we talked about, Father's Day, where it was this glow to everything, and there was this like halo. This one seemed dim and grim and
dark.
Dark.
Yep.
Which is supposed to, because it's the
definitely
bombings
should.
in 1941, so it should feel that way.
Right.
But it feels very dark in this one. Early drafts included the character of Jamie's father, who would silently and anonymously appear to aid Nancy and the war orphans. This episode, along with the following part, has the distinction of being ranked as Doctor Who magazine readers' favorite 9th Doctor story in all 3 of their major polls. Interesting. So this is considered like a favorite, huh?
Yes.
All right.
It is.
Interesting.
I would have told you that, but I probably was going to wait till the end of the episode.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. And
It's okay.
I mean, you can't avoid it if you're trying to do research and stuff. So here we go.
Sure.
Let's get right into The Empty Child. So like we were saying at the beginning of this, the TARDIS is flying through space, and they're following some silo-looking thing, and it's taking them
like that. Yeah.
It's taking them where they need to go. I could
Just
not
some
tell what the
space
hell was
trash,
going on. I honestly, Rachel, I have no idea what the fuck was going on. I know it's taking them to London, and that's the intro, and then and I was like, wait, what just happened? I'm so confused as to what they were tracking, why they were following it, and then they're like, we gotta go, it's London. And it's because like there was an alert on it, but I was like, is there an alert on the thing? Or is there like what am I watching?
I know, yeah. No, I feel like that's understandable.
So what was happening? Do you know what was happening?
All right, well, I do know what was happening because I've watched the episode, but it sounds like they picked up some weird emergency, right? I think they think the ship that they're following, or the space trash looking thing that they're following, is in an emergency situation because it's like it's giving out the signal mauve, which is, you know, a red alert, which is something humans do,
right,
and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that's what it is like it's sending out this signal like, oh my god, we're in emergency, to see if somebody will pick it up.
Okay.
And he picked it up, that they're in an emergency, and he's trying to help them. So he's following them with the TARDIS.
Okay, so he thinks that there's something on this silo floating through the wormhole. Okay, got it.
Yes.
That helps a bit. Random question that popped in my head while you were explaining that.
And he has no idea what it is. He's just following it.
Did they go immediately from Father's Day to this, or did Rose get time to like sleep and shower and?
I would imagine there's probably time between because her hair feels different. She's in a different outfit. You know,
she's wearing a Union Jack t-shirt.
She's wearing a Union Jack.
She looks like a Spice Girl.
She looks like a Spice Girl. Yep, that's a great way to. Well, she's a pop star, so it makes sense, right?
I guess it makes sense. I guarantee you, Billie Piper has worn a Union Jack walking around the streets and like, oh, thank you for watching Doctor Who. I appreciate that.
With her mouth like.
Yeah. She has posed with somebody.
Oh,
with
probably.
that mouth wide open. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think there's always a little bit of in between. So there's at least a day or a few days. And then maybe was an adventure between there. We don't know. Like, there could have been a lot going on between that and now.
Okay. I was just wondering, because I'm like, does he ever let Rose take a break and just kind of relax on the TARDIS?
You don't get to sleep. You don't get to eat.
He
Unless
might
we
not.
stop somewhere for chips. You don't get to do anything.
After the intro, they whoosh into London, and they're looking for the thing they were following, thinking it's got to be within a mile of where they landed.
Right.
And they realize, or no, they don't realize, but I realize that someone is watching them. We get a view from kind of like it's distorted. It's a distorted
like a
view.
glass?
Yeah, I thought it was binoculars, but it's like just, some distorted view of someone watching them.
It is kind of like that. Like you're looking through like the binoculars or like glass of some sort. Something magnifying them.
And they are like, okay, well, how are you going to ask about this thing? Like, because he's like, well, we'll just find somebody and I'll ask them like where I can find it. And Rose is like, how are you going to be able to figure that out? And he's like, because I'll have this. And he pulls out the psychic paper. And he says, I'm going to be the Minister of Asteroids. He asks her if she's sure about that T-shirt, and she's like, "What? It's it's a nice shirt. I like it."
Well, she has it. She's got to take it out for a ride first. I think is something like she says. Like, let me try it for a little while.
Because I'm a pop star from the early aughts.
It's a little loud, but like, why
uniform.
not? Yeah. He also says that they are a month behind it. Because they it got through before them through the vortex, so like they're a month behind.
Yeah.
Right.
The doctor starts going out off ahead, and she hears a child saying "mummy,"
"mummy, mummy,"
and you keep it keeps repeating itself.
Right.
And there's a kid,
and then you see it.
Yeah, there's a kid on the roof wearing a gas mask.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know if you know it's 1941 yet. I don't think you're supposed to necessarily know. So, like, that would be unsettling. But in 1941, it's probably not as uncommon.
No, probably not.
The doctor hears
there's a child on the roof with a gas mask on yelling "mummy."
Yes. Very unsettling.
And it is. They make it a little creepier in this because of the darkness, like you were mentioning before.
Mm-hmm. I guess that is the benefit of what Doctor Who is able to do, because you can go to different tones from episode to episode because you're covering completely different stories with these characters.
Right.
The Doctor hears jazz music and he goes into this club. It's kind of like a speakeasy, really.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, I don't think London had, like England wouldn't have speakeasies because I don't think they had prohibition, but like it felt like a speakeasy US.
Yeah, because of how it's like almost buried. It's like underground.
Yeah. Rose shouts to the kid and then runs up the fire escape. And I'd be like, why is she so concerned about this kid? Just ignore it.
Well, because it's a child alone.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's one of those things where it's like, why is this child alone yelling for its mother? It's lost, right? It has to be lost. Well, I'm going to go see what's going on.
Yeah, I guess that is true. That would be the neighborly thing to do. I'd be like, that kid's creepy. Don't, just ignore it. Just ignore
he was kind of far away, to be quite honest. And, he could just be yelling to his mom and she's right there.
So true.
So why are you, like, going that far away?
Yeah. Why are you climbing the fire escape to go look at this kid? They don't know the time they're in yet, which is very clear, because after the singer is done singing, the doctor goes to the mic and he's like, excuse me, just have a couple of questions here. and he asks if anything has fallen from the sky recently.
And they all kind of look at each other?
Yeah, they all
And then they
look at
realize,
him.
oh, wait, this is a joke, and they start laughing.
Yeah, they scoff, and then they all start laughing at him.
They're like, oh, he's a comedian.
Yes.
Because then he goes, and like big booms, you know, it would have like probably made a big loud noise, and they're like,
Because of this, then he realizes, because...
Oh, he sees the sign.
Well,
There's,
first,
like, signs and posters
he sees the sign because this alarm starts going off, and they all
Yes.
just get up and start heading toward a bomb shelter.
Right.
And he turns and he sees a sign that says something about, like, stop Hitler, or whatever it says, and he's like, great. So he figures out, like, that's why they weren't paying attention to me.
Because of course there's stuff falling from the sky.
Rose gets to the roof and sees that the boy is saying mummy from the top of the roof. She thinks that he gave her a rope, I think. Because why the hell does she grab this rope, Rachel? This is the most confusing part of this entire episode. Is that she's just like, oh, okay, a rope. It appears that I will climb it.
Maybe that's what she thinks is like the way of getting up there. She's like, well, there's a rope here. What if I grab this rope and like climb it to get to the top?
That's what I think too.
I think that
I'm
has to be
thinking-
what it is.
Yeah, because otherwise
just
it's
kind
like,
of
why'd you grab
there.
that rope, Rose?
Because she didn't see a ladder right away. She's just like, okay, well, there's a rope here. I'll climb up that.
The rope, which Rose has now grabbed, was connected to a blimp.
That's correct.
So now, and it takes off with her as she shouts for the doctor. I guess this is another thing where it's like, yeah, because like if you look at any like old World War footage, you see the blimps with the ropes.
Right. Exactly.
So that was a thing. So
that
like,
was a thing. So that they wanted to be like a part of it. So she's like now in the middle of an air raid.
and it takes off with her as she shouts for the doctor, but she is now clinging to the bottom of this blimp.
For dear life.
Rope.
If she would have fallen.
I feel like this would have taken some incredible strength for her to be able to hang on to this.
I would
You'd
be
be
dead.
blowing in the wind off of a rope,
Yes.
hanging from a blimp, as German ships,
Yes.
or German planes rather, fly past you, bombing London.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
You'd fall. You would fall.
Oh, I would
off.
fall. Yes. Yes.
It makes me think that the timelines that we're seeing between the doctor's story and Rose's story, all of Rose's story has to have happened within like
Seconds?
a minute. Yes.
Yes. I agree.
Because there's no way that she held on for as long as they make it feel like she held on.
Absolutely not. There's no way.
The doctor runs down an alley looking for Rose, but she isn't there, and he laments that he always finds someone that can't stay put.
Yeah, don't
He's
wander
like,
off. He's talking to a cat.
Yes, he finds like a stray, and he's like, every single time I find some ape that wanders off.
You gotta think about it this way, too. He's talking to a stray because he always picks up strays. Get it?
Rose was not a stray. She was aimless. It's
All
different.
right, fine. I guess you could think of stray cats as just aimless as well. They're not strays. They just do whatever the hell they want.
That's true. They're very independent. Cats at home. I'm pro-cat. We're a very pro-cat podcast. As he's telling the cat this, and as he's like, now I gotta go find Rose again. I feel like I'm doing this every other week. And he sees a police box. I think it's actually the TARDIS, but this time I was like, could just be a police box. Because when it started ringing, I was like...
That's true.
When it started ringing, I was like, is that the TARDIS? Or is that just a box? And he's like, I can't find the TARDIS because there's all of these tardies now walking around. Wouldn't that be the plural of tardies? TARDIS? Tardis?
Well, TARDIS isn't...
You're right, because it's not plural.
TARDISes.
TARDISes. Yeah,
it's not a plural, and it's not. It's an acronym.
It's
Is
an
that the word?
acronym. Yeah.
I guess it would just be TARDISes.
Yeah. So there's all these TARDISes, but it
Like
is
tortoises.
the TARDIS. Yeah, like tortoises. But it starts ringing, and the doctor is like ringing, and I don't know why.
Why are you ringing?
The doctor says it with such emphasis. It feels like
he does.
somebody told him, like, no, you're saying it's like the Up and Adam thing from The Simpsons, because it's like somebody told him like ringing.
How can you be ringing. What's that about, ringing? What am I supposed to do with a ringing phone?
Don't answer it. It's not for you.
Why are you ringing? Why are you ringing? He like really emphasizes
How could
it.
you be ringing?
I like to picture like the director or somebody on set kept saying like, no, it's up and at them.
Up and at them.
And Chris Eccleston was just like, fine, I'm gonna fucking say ringing as like pronunciated as I
Kind of
could.
see that because I feel like that is very the actor. I don't know why, but I kind of imagine the actor kind of being a bit that way.
Like, don't tell me how to say ringing.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Like, can be kind of like, yeah, all right. Keep
Like,
telling me that.
I got it. Yeah. Keep it
I
up.
figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen him in other stuff.
I only know I've seen him in The Dark World as Malekith, and he was completely underused. But what else has he been in?
I thought he was in something else, too, that you would have known.
Oh, let's see. 28 Days Later? I don't remember him in that, though. I've seen that, but I don't remember him in it. He actually hasn't done a lot of acting recently. I mean, he's 60. He can retire.
Yeah, he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yes, the TARDIS is ringing, and then this girl comes out looking dirty. She's got, like, ash all...
Yes.
Well, she's got, like, dirt and ash kind of look. She's got
she
a,
looks
she's got
dirty.
A coal. She looks like a coal girl.
She's a street urchin.
She is definitely a street urchin. I think we're past the era of street urchins, but there's
is
she's a
it?
street urchin. No, she doesn't look like a full-on Dickensian street urchin, but she does have like that look. And she tells the doctor that isn't for him. And she says, don't answer it. And he's like, but it isn't a real phone. How could it be ringing? It's not a real phone. So
just don't do it.
And she's like, doesn't matter. Just don't answer it. And when he turns back, she isn't there. So it's like, oh, is she some sort of spooky kid too?
Just a bunch of spooky kids here.
It's just Spooky Kid London. Spooky Kid London could be a really good name for a band.
It could.
We are Spooky Kid London. The doctor kind of breaks his own rule and answers it because it's like, here's a rule of thumb. If you were to tell Rose, don't answer it, you'd be mad if she answered it. So why are you doing that? Yeah, but that's the
doctor. Because he's the doctor and he feels like he's above everybody.
Yeah. So it's like your curiosity always gets the better of you. He wants to solve every problem.
That's correct.
There's nothing on the other line though. And I was like, oh great, now it's like The Ring and he's gonna die in 7 days. That's what I thought it was.
7 days.
Yeah. Are you my mummy? 7 days. You have 7 days to find my mummy.
You've never even seen The Ring. You told me that.
I've not seen The Ring. The kid is on the other line then after that, and he asks for his mummy.
Asking if he's the mummy.
The doctor becomes troubled by this, and he wants to know how it was wrong, then hangs up all puzzled. I did think it was... I was like, is this going to be some sort of ring thing where, like, answering the phone, like, the curse...
brings the
like,
child to you?
It follows, yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
So the doctor moves down the alley, investigating further, and he finds the Dursleys from 1941.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I didn't know that you could be this fat in London in 1941. Like, it's this fat family.
Well, because I think they're a bit richer. I think that's the whole point because of how much food they have in the house.
Mm-hmm. And they're getting black market stuff and things like that.
Right.
But they're going into the shelter. And it's your stereotypical... I thought they were going to be there for a little while because I was like, I guess this is going to be your stereotypical grumpy fat family.
That we have to deal with the entire episode.
Yeah, and then they never come back again because they hide out in the shelter during the air raid.
Exactly. Get
your big ass in here, Henry. The air raid's coming, or whatever. They really do look like the Dursleys. So they
do.
I mean,
except their kid is skinny, and they were shoving him into it first.
The kid is skinny, and she's fat. That's the difference. That's how you know it's
true.
not. Yeah,
that's how you know.
And then the girl that was with the doctor, looking like Wednesday Addams, goes in the house to take all their
does.
Food.
That's a good point. She's got the braids and everything.
Yeah, she's got a Wednesday Addams look going. Meanwhile, Rose is still... Rose is... Because there are two very separate stories going on between Rose and the
there
doctor.
are.
And the tones are completely different as well.
Yes.
because Rose's story is like war romance.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. I give it to you.
And the Doctor's story is creepy kid horror.
He's got like a horror movie going on. Yeah.
And no disrespect to the Rose storyline, but the Doctor's storyline...
I love the Doctor's storyline.
It's a lot more fascinating.
Give me more horror Doctor. That sounds way more fun.
But Rose is hanging from the blimp as it flies over London. And I just wrote, this seems a little impossible. She'd be dead.
Well, I think, again, like you said, her timeline is not the same as the Doctor's.
No.
This has to be within 10 minutes.
A few seconds after. Yeah. A dude sees her with binoculars from this balcony.
Right. Wearing like a uniform, like an officer's uniform.
Yeah, it's a bunch of officers. It's a bunch of British officers.
Army guys.
Yeah, they're about to go in the shelter as well because of the air raid. The officer that we're following turns out to be Captain Jack.
That's right.
Jack is
his
checking out...
binoculars are a bit more
advanced. Yeah. He's checking out Rose's ass from afar, which, I get it, dude. But she's hanging from the bottom of this rope. It's not the best view of her ass. He does tell her that she has a great bottom. And then, because he says great bottom, one of the other officers is like, oh, this is really the time and place. So I was like, is he coming on? Does he think that Captain Jack is coming on to him? And then Jack
he might have already.
Jack makes this little aside as he's like, no. He doesn't, because Jack seems like he's not very concerned about anything, that she's stuck up there.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go.
All right, I gotta go see about a girl for a second. And I was like, does this guy think he's gay? He even says something of I'll slap your ass
meet a girl
later.
But
or you have a great ass too. So I was like, okay, maybe he is bi. Okay.
Yes.
He's just very.
Let me just throw this out there. Yes.
Okay.
If it moves, yes.
He's gonna fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay. Again.
I'll just throw that out there now. I'll let you know.
Okay. So this is the first time I've seen Captain Jack. I have no idea how many episodes he's in. I know he's in a spinoff.
And he probably was with this guy. That's probably there's a time and a place. We can't be open about that.
I feel like, no disrespect to this actor. This is my first time seeing him. Maybe he grows into the part. He doesn't fit. At least not yet for me. Because he looks and sounds like Christopher Reeve.
I think that's fine. I think he can be Christopher Reeves.
But then, I'm just picturing in my head, because, now I know, he's just polysexual? Is that a thing?
I do not ask me. I have no idea.
Whatever. But he's bisexual. I'm saying polysexual because I know that means he fucks an alien.
He's like an anysexual.
And yeah,
absolutely. I'm just gonna say anysexual because it's like an alien thing too.
There you go. He's a con man. He's smarmy. He's a rogue. He's a Han Solo character. He doesn't seem as rough as I feel like he should.
So you want him to be more rough around the edges?
He should at the
versus
very
pretty
least.
boy, because he is kind of pretty boy.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. He's got frat boy prettiness to him, and I want him to have a 5 o'clock shadow and look a little rough, look a little look a little ruggedness.
I agree.
He needs some ruggedness.
This might just be the preference of the time for what is considered the sexy guy that's
2005,
coming in.
You're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I think nowadays he would totally look rugged.
He'd have some hair
and
on his chest.
He'd have this.
He needs
the disheveled
scraggly beard.
Yeah, and it would be great. I feel like more now that would happen. I know you mentioned Captain Jack Sparrow. Also kind of a dirty, schmarmy...
You're naming a character
guy.
Captain Jack in 2005. Everyone... I wasn't around to say in the Doctor Who-niverse. There had to be people comparing him to Captain Jack Sparrow.
I did. I joked when he said he's Captain Jack, and I went, "What, Captain Jack Sparrow?" This came... I watched this over a decade ago, but it wasn't when it came out.
Right.
And of course I've seen Pirates before that because Pirates came out
before that.
So of course that's the first thing that came to my mind when I met him.
But that idea of that a rugged, dashing.
Yes.
You could still have him be this hunk for
Yes.
Rose, which is kind of how this episode plays out. But it feels like he should be more rugged with the personality that he's giving
I
off.
agree.
Now-
I feel that.
You can play against type, and he can definitely have that Christopher Reeve air to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Maybe I'll have to watch it again and see
And
if
it
I
might
buy
just
it
be
more.
the actor.
Sure.
It might just be the actor and the way he's playing it up in his own personality.
Sure.
Because I feel like his personality pops through Jack's character as well.
Okay. So maybe I'll have to watch it again and see if I'm more now knowing what it is. Because like I said, whenever you look up,
we all know that this is the first half of a story, and you're gonna get the second half, and
You're
you're gonna
right.
get more of Jack in
You're
that
right.
one.
okay.
So
Folks at
you
home,
might
please
get
wait
more.
till the next episode of Shelf Life to hear my future thoughts
Full
about Captain
opinions
Jack.
on Jack Sparrow. I'm sorry,
Jack Harkness.
Captain Jack Harkness. Damn it.
Also for my thoughts on Captain Jack Sparrow. What the hell? So in the meantime, the little girl, or the teenage girl, is stealing food from the Dursleys, which I would not do because I guarantee you that dude counts all the baked beans that he has.
He
in
might
the cupboard.
count them, but he doesn't know where they went.
I had 18 cans of baked beans in the counter, and now there's only
18?
7.
7? I had 18! That's literally what you do.
I know, yeah. Last night there were 27.
I hid
that-
these in the couch cushions. And they're
Oh,
gone.
yeah. If that girl wants to find more food, she needs to start slashing up the couch cushions.
Go up to their bedroom, it's under the bed and inside of the wardrobe and
There's one in the turlet.
the drawer.
Yeah.
Oh, in the toilet?
Yeah. He's keeping
No.
he's like an alcoholic. He's got food
Oh, I could
everywhere.
see that. Yeah, there's probably cans in there. Yeah, you're probably right.
He counts that canned hash is definitely sitting in the bathroom. We learn that she goes from house to house swiping people's food. And I guess why not? You're an orphan
air raids.
Yeah, and you're orphan during this time. So if a bomb gets you, fucking what do you fucking care? It's
Yeah,
not
they
like
just need
you're
to eat.
Yeah, your life isn't going anywhere anyway. Rose is still impractically holding on. Then she finally falls. But
Yes.
as she falls, a beam, like a tractor beam,
Yes.
zaps her and
guess-
pulls her in.
I guess we kind of forgot to mention that at the beginning when she's talking to the doctor, she goes, well, how do you know where we are? And he goes like, oh, well, if you look at this and this. And she goes, I want it to be a little bit more Spock. She wants to be a little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more like magic
Yeah.
and science-y.
Yeah, she
But
is
he's,
complaining to him, that there
Right,
there isn't enough magic to it. She wants it to be a little more Star Trek-y, and he knows
Yes.
everything, so he just kind of
Lets it happen. And
It
she's
just
like, well, come on,
happens.
make it a little bit more fun. Like,
yeah, there's nothing fun.
give me
about
give me
this.
some gobbledygook.
She wants it to be more romantic. She wants it to be more swashbuckling.
She wants to romanticize
Yeah.
her journey.
Yeah.
You're right.
She's in this beam, and she is stuck in this beam, and he's helping her descend, but he asks her to switch off her cell phone because it's messing with his controls or something like that. And
Right.
she's like, they always say that on an airplane. It never makes any sense there either. And he's like, yeah,
He's
well,
like,
I
yeah,
actually...
but it actually means
I
it. Can you
actually
please
mean
do it?
Yeah. And folks at home, I think they actually do mean that as well.
They
I don't
do,
think it doesn't
'cause
mess
they're-
with it as much as it used to, like in 2005.
Right.
But it still does. So
But
put
I think it still does.
put your device. You can still listen to Shelf Life. Just download the episode. It's fine. Just put it on the airplane mode. Yeah, it'll be fine.
That's why it exists.
Yeah. She immediately thinks that he's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately. smitten.
Immediately. Well, because he's got that square jaw. Like,
Yeah, he looks like a Superman knockoff.
he looks like Superman.
Yeah.
I think.
not Henry
could
Cavill Superman.
No.
Christopher Reeve Superman.
Reeves, absolutely. He's always got the butt chin and everything.
Almost, yeah. Like a dead ringer.
Yeah, he's got those, like, he's got the cheek dimples.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that big smile.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard not to see him as being, like, handsome.
Right. No, I'm not saying he's not handsome. I'm just saying
Butt chin.
I want a rugged smuggler.
I mean, of course we do. We all want a rugged smuggler, all right?
Yeah,
we want that.
I think of myself as a rugged smuggler. If I had to pick a character to be, it would be rugged smuggler.
I definitely would prefer a man with a beard.
This is a good time to point out that Rachel's husband may or may not have a beard. To the point where sometimes our mom is like, where our mom goes, he needs to trim his beard.
not that long. It just gets
It's not like an Amish
thick.
beard. Just poofs out quite a bit. Kids are running around the city, and we see the shadow of the kid in the gas mask approach them. And we find out what happens here. So they're all in this one house, and it's this.
Yeah, she doesn't just steal. She like brings the kids in, and she's like, "There's actually a full meal here. Come here, we're gonna eat it."
They're eating a stolen turkey, and I was like, "What is this? Fucking Peter Pan, Lost Boys, and Wendy?" Would you have? I would have
There's
believed
a bunch of girls too.
Yes, I understand, but it's still the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys can have girls in it. It's 2024, Rachel. Get woke. There's girls in the Lost Boys.
The whole point was that there was Wendy, and she was the mom. All right, but you're right that she is kind of treating them like the mom.
It's a Peter Pan situation,
and she's taking care of them.
Yeah, they all get a slice of turkey,
and she's trying to keep them like, use your manners and stuff. Like, come on. I know it's an air raid. I know we're kind of in a hurry, but eat your turkey and don't be an ass. Otherwise, I'm not helping you anymore.
Well, because if you can survive long enough to join the army, then at least you'll like have a thing. Sure. I mean, actually, I guess the question, folks at home, let me know: Would you rather
okay,
join the army, the British Army, during World War II, or be a street urchin? Those are your two choices.
World War II.
Yeah.
Or just in general.
No, just during World War II.
I mean, I would assume that most people would probably say army because they're at least you're like housed, fed.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think you'd have to go with army, right?
You'd have to because I mean, like, just think about it back then and being like a little urchin. Like that's.
I love that we're calling them urchins.
I'm so sorry. And is this derogatory in any way? Because I
don't think
it's
so.
Not.
I don't think it is.
But being like a little street urchin, it's gotta be difficult. And you're in London, it's gotta be cold and wet, and you're hungry all the time. That's gotta feel awful. At least,
and that's just being a Londoner.
You get a little bit of comfort with the army, even if it's just minor. Oh, that's just being in London.
Thank you. I was saying, no, you're right though. There's more comfort there. No, I was just curious because I was thinking like. What's their end game? Their end game is just survival. Like it's
just survival. Absolutely.
The doctor,
because as we go around the table, the doctor goes, thank you.
Yeah. So then the doctor ends up he snuck
joining
his way
them.
in and he joined them and he scares them, and she calls them by saying, "Don't worry, because he shouldn't be here either." So it's like he's also a criminal. He's also stealing this turkey. It's not like
just sit down and eat your food. It's fine.
Yeah. And he's like, "Are you all homeless?" And they're like, "Are you a cop?" And he's like, "I'm not a copper. And even if I were, what are they going to do? Arrest you for being homeless?" And they all laugh. And it's like,
yes,
it's a hell of a point because it's like, great. I'm glad. Yeah,
homeless
arrest
and hungry,
me.
right?
Yeah, like what are they going to do? It's like they're either going to throw you in a home, which great, or they're going to arrest you and throw you in jail, which fine.
Yeah.
He asks them all why they haven't been evacuated because, as we discussed in our Paddington episode back in Volume 4, see the back catalog, folks, during World War II, the kids would be sent off to the rural areas of England so that they wouldn't be bombed and so that they might have a chance for survival. So the doctor's thinking, like, if you really are, like, orphans, you should have been evacuated off to the rural areas of the country.
Right.
One of the kids comes back and he's like,
"This is sad. This, like, if you didn't catch this..."
Yeah, this is dark.
This is a bit dark.
I was like, is this kid molested?
I'm wondering. Like, beaten, molested, something.
Yeah, because the one kid's like, well, I was sent to a farm. And he's like, but there was a man there.
There was a man there.
That's all he says.
All we heard. And then the other guy goes, well, he had the same thing happen.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. So and then that made me think, like, were those stories where, like, people were taking advantage, or, like, these kids were beaten because they became basically, like, indentured servants on these farms?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
There definitely could have been some people, like, taking advantage of that situation.
Oh, absolutely. Which, it's like, oh, you actually don't hear about that part. Of course you don't hear about that part. Nobody wants to talk about that part. But it's like...
Because everyone wants to talk about
glaze over there. That's
the
awful.
Paddington side of it, where it's like people took them in,
and it was the good part of it, right? But yeah, I bet that was happening.
There were definitely
and it's just
some
like,
people that
oh
probably
my
took
God.
advantage. Yeah, the doctor thinks that their plan is brilliant, though. Because he's like, yeah, you end up getting bombed. Who cares? We were going to probably die eventually anyway.
Yeah, like
Otherwise,
how he's like...
we're eating turkey, folks. We're eating good
he
tonight.
He calls it a musical. It feels like a musical. Like...
You know what, though? It does kind of feel like a musical.
It does. I feel like it should be.
I mean, I compared it to Peter Pan, but it has an Oliver Twist thing to it. Like, this could have been a musical type thing.
Right.
He wants to know how it got a phone call. He's like, the reason I'm back here is because I'm trying to figure out how my TARDIS got a phone call. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And he asks them if something fell that wasn't a bomb. And before they can answer, there's a knock at the door. It's the gas mask kid again.
Oh, before that, though, I do like the joke he makes. He says he's also looking for a blonde girl in a Union Jack. He didn't just wake up one day with a craving. And I just thought it was funny because then they all laughed too. And I was like, that's great. That's a good one.
Yes. They're all having a good time with the doctor. Like, I just picture, like, you know, like, in some of those things.
Well, the doctor likes kids.
Well, you can see, like, in some of those, like, comedies where, like, there's that exaggerated laugh where they all, like, go, like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Like,
yes.
Like, Billy Madison or, like, Heavyweights or something where they all, like, make the joke and then they're all, like, pounding the table. Like, that's what it reminded me of. They're all, like, slapping their knees and, like, pounding the table at these jokes.
Yeah, because they're like, well, this is fun.
We're eating turkey. We're fucking over these fat people.
These fat rich people getting stuff off the black market.
But that was a good joke. Yeah, he's looking for a blonde in a Union Jack, and that wasn't just a craving. He's actually looking for one. Then this becomes like a horror movie again, which is nice that they're just juxtaposing the family dinner scene with the creepy gas mask kid. You get like the Dutch angles. It's all dark again, even though it was light in the other, very light and bright in the other room. So they're working with the lighting a lot and the angles of the camera in this.
Right.
The kid is trying to get in again, saying, "Mommy, are you in there, Mommy?" Yeah.
Mommy? Are you in there, Mommy? Mommy?
Mommy! The kids are scared. She's even scared.
I don't remember when we learned that her name is Daisy. It might not be now, it might be a little bit later, but her name is Daisy, so I'll refer to her as Daisy. Daisy says that it isn't a child, and they all have to get out of there right now. And the little girl took a little while to move. I thought that like she was like hypnotized or something.
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah, I think that's all it was supposed to be. But I was like, oh, is she like hypnotized, and then she just kind of like moves on. The gas mask kid tries to get in again. It just felt very horror movie-esque. I wasn't creeped out by it because it's Doctor Who. How?
Oh yeah, sure. You know it's not going to be like a horror. But when I did watch this in the dark for the first time I watched it was like in the dark, and it was like on and it was late, and it was a little like, oh, this is creepy, and I don't know where it's going. Plus I didn't know Doctor Who back then.
Sure.
And I didn't know if it could go that dark.
Right.
So it was like ooh, I don't know what's happening here.
The only thing I'll say about that is with the doctor being the doctor and being so sure of himself, you never feel fully anxious or scared.
Sure.
Or unsettled because the doctor doesn't. So it's like you can't feel it because the doctor's always like,
it's okay. We'll get through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it never.
And I wonder if that's a
there.
part of that. I think that's kind of how they get away with being able to go a little darker is because he's kind of like leading you. He's holding your hand and saying, it's okay.
Sure.
We're going to get through this. It's scary, but we got this.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. Because like later on, when Daisy is by herself and is being creeped out, that feels more horror-esque. So like if something would have happened to Rose without the doctor there, they could have made that very dark. So,
yeah.
Or had that horror tone to it. I'm just saying, like, the doctor himself exudes so much confidence that you never feel like...
No, it's true.
You know,
when
mortal
he does
terror.
When he does seem like a little off kilter, though, you kind of go, okay, what's happening?
Sure.
So you kind of do feel that, but it's not as common.
The last scene of this, you finally get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says that if he touches you, he makes you like him. All the kids have run off, and he's like, you got to tell me what's going on. Like, what is this thing? Because like the kid's reaching his hand into the mail slot and just saying like, let me in, Mommy.
Are you in there?
And she says that he makes you like him. He's empty. And the phone rings again. So we learn that the kid makes the phone ring, the radio goes on, stuff starts going on. It's poltergeist, right?
It's very poltergeisty. Yeah. like a spirit, a haunting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see if you watched this as a younger person, like not even a kid, like a teenager or whatever.
Yeah.
Being pretty freaky. Like it has a freaky tone.
It would get your like the chills.
Yeah, you get some chills. Yeah. The kid has a cut on his hand. Looks like the So I think he's a member of the Thorn cult. I think him and Michael Myers. I think he's a predecessor of Michael Myers.
What? All right. That's a reference.
Remember in Halloween 6, he's got like he's got the symbol on his hand.
Remember in Halloween 6, the sixth iteration of Halloween?
There are some listeners, Rachel, that understood and appreciated that reference.
I barely remember that.
Because the mark on his hand, the cut on his hand is like almost like in a P shape, a toothpick symbol almost.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't, but yeah.
Anyway.
Look, I don't even, Kevin, I don't really you have always done the "you're welcome," and I don't even know what that is from. I just went along with it. I go along with it sometimes because I don't remember. I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
Well, tomorrow you're going to go watch Merlin's Mystical Shop of Wonders MST3K episode, and you're going to find out. I'll find it for you.
Oh.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, wait, I do remember. Never mind. It's all coming back to me. The second I saw the images, I went, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I remember that. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming back to me. Never mind. But the other one? Hold on. Now I have to look at this. I thought it was just a slash. Does it actually have more of a look to it on the kid's hand?
It does it? Because I thought it had like a shape. Is it just a slash?
I thought it was just a slash.
It had to look somewhat distinguishable because of how it comes up in the rest of the episode.
Maybe it does have like a more of a look. Well, because there's the one that looks like a P, but then there's one that looks like a triangle with a line. Is it the triangle with a line? Is it supposed to be a P?
I think I'm thinking of a P. Yeah. It's a triangle with a line, but it looks almost like a P to me. And I thought that
I think you're right. But yeah, maybe it does have more of a look to it, and I just, in my head, I'm thinking of it just looking like it's like just a cut across his hand.
Maybe it was.
But you're right. It might have more. It has more shape. It might look like a Y or something. Maybe it has like a couple slashes to it.
There was a couple of lines. I know
it might be more distinctive, but in my head, I'm just not picturing it fully.
They clearly are showcasing it.
Oh, yeah, his hand goes through. With his hand. Yeah.
And then they want you to remember what it looks like, because then later on when the doctor sees it again, it's instantly recognizable.
Right.
So the doctor is like, I'm not your mommy, but I'll let you in because the other children are frightened of you. And the doctor, being curious, is like, I'm going to open the door now, and I'm going to like...
Oh, it does. It does have like a Y.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just saw it. I had to look at it again.
Yeah.
I had to look at it again.
I knew that there was something. I knew that my joke made some sort of sense.
It did. It makes sense. Good job, Kevin.
Thank you.
The Michael Myers Halloween 6, it looks just like the P from that cult.
So,
fantastic reference.
Folks, fantastic. Folks at home, please mark that down. That is Kevin 1. The rest of the world not understanding my references 1,000,000, but I want that slash, thank you. So the doctor opens the door and the kid vanished, so he's no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like nowhere in there.
Right. So
then we go back to the Rose storyline, and we're in TARDIS 2, or whatever this happens to be, but
spaceship?
It looks, yeah, it's some sort of spaceship. Jack turns on some lights, and it should be brought up that when they first met, Jack says, like, hello to Rose, and Rose goes, hello. Jack says hello back again, and I keep wanting to call her Jackie because of Jack. And Rose says, hello again, so she's immediately got the hots for him. So.
Oh, yeah. She's flustered. She just fell off of a blimp.
You know what? Fair point. She fell off a blimp. Let's give the poor girl a break. She fell off a blimp. And
she does pass out, so then this is when she's waking back up.
And they say hello again, and she's like, let's not do that again. He says that his name is Captain Jack Harkness, and he has a psychic paper. He tries to fool her by saying, what does he say that he is?
133 Squadron.
Oh, that's right. He tries to give her, like, his...
133 Squadron, Royal Air Force.
And he's an American...
An American volunteer.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's not going to work. You are not a
You know,
Hey,
you're not from here.
You're not from here. And if she says, I've seen psychic paper before, I know what that says. And he's like,
Plus, it actually says that you're single and you work out.
yeah. Is that because the psychic paper, because he's got intrusive thoughts?
You literally have to think of
Okay.
what you want it to look and say, I believe,
Okay.
is how it works.
And
So it's
because we've
actually
only-
like picking it up from what you're doing, and it's supposed to show them that.
Okay.
And so, and he's like looking at her like, yeah, you're hot. I'll take you. And like, so it's like, yeah, you're single and you work out.
Okay. That makes sense. And because the doctor is the doctor, he can concentrate without having
He
to
can
worry about
concentrate
that.
a lot easier.
She tries to see if he is a local boy, and he realizes she is a time traveler.
Yes.
One that is available. according to the
Yes,
psychic
because of
paper.
course, again, more shots at Mickey here.
Poor Mickey.
Kind of boyfriend Mickey Smith.
Yeah.
But you're very available.
Very available.
Very.
Very. So she's like, you know
loose
what?
and fancy free is what he says. And it's like, dude. I've only been here a month.
She tells him, let's not use the psychic paper to do this.
Yeah, let's like actually talk to each other.
So she goes over and she accidentally burns her hands on something. It looked
No,
like
no,
Barry...
no. She doesn't burn it on something in the ship. It's rope burns.
Oh, it's from the rope.
She just touches something and
I
it's
thought
like,
she-
oh, the pains from
Oh,
her hand.
I thought she burnt something in the ship. Okay,
No,
that makes
it's
more
it's
sense.
it's from, holding on for dear life.
Yeah,
And
that
it
makes more
finally like
sense.
ripping her hands. Yeah.
Okay. So he wants to look at her hands and try to fix them. It looks like he has a sonic screwdriver. It's very sonic screwdriver-esque, this contraption that he has. And he keeps calling her a time agent.
Yes.
He ties her hands together, and I was like, again, if he was a little more, smarmy, I'd be like, be a little cautious here, Rose. Is he gonna try to
Contain you, detain,
yeah,
detain you.
detain you? Like, is he on the run? If you are a time agent, and is he trying to keep you captured or something?
Oh yeah, like he's gonna use you and
Yeah.
hold you hostage and.
Well, even that, or just tell me where the time agents are. Are they on my
Oh, now he's
tail?
gonna question her.
Yeah.
Ah, sure.
Instead, all he does is he heals her hands and he fixes
Yes.
the rope burn.
With little nanobite thingies, little nanobots that are in the ship.
Yeah, very
Yes.
much like a couple of episodes ago when
Little
they were
sparkly
in
nanobots.
where they did the brain thing in the future.
Oh yeah, I guess it's similar to that.
Nanobots. Yeah,
So I mean, it's kind of consistent.
yeah.
And so they actually heal her hands though, which is pretty cool.
He says, "Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns," and they go to. That was stupid. And he brings a drink onto the
But
balcony.
I liked it.
Oh, thank you. A terrible green screen.
The balcony, as in just the top of the ship.
Yes, but he says, well, yeah.
He wants it to be sexier.
Awful green screen. On
Are you
this.
sure?
Oh, are you being
You didn't think they were right in front of Big Ben that whole time?
I'm pretty sure I can make the effect better in Microsoft Teams of me standing on top of Big Ben. So not only is he Superman, Rachel, he's also Wonder Woman because he has an invisible ship.
Damn straight. That sounds about right for Jack too. He would be Wonder Woman more so than Superman.
He doesn't seem that earnest. I guess Wonder Woman's slightly less
He's
earnest
neither
than
of
Superman.
them.
Got a little Iron Man in him.
A little Iron Man. A little
Yeah.
Iron Man. Yeah. We'll give him that. But not that much Iron Man.
No. Not
Just
the charm.
Well, no, I was going to say it was only the charm. What do you mean?
Yeah, you're right. It's just the smarmy
He's
charm.
not like a scientist. He's not
Yeah, just
an
smarmy
engineer.
charm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Daisy.
Just not the charm. He's everything, but not the charm.
You know what
Right?
folks at home, I said it wrong. Back in the other episode, Daisy has a bag of food going back to their junkyard hangout because they live in a junkyard.
trains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doctor followed her. I don't remember what comes up, but she says that he has a big nose. I don't remember how we got there.
I think he said something because he's trying to talk to her and treat her as a kid that he sees her as. So he's saying I sniffed you out. That's why my nose is so big. Ha ha ha. And then so
yes,
she
thank
looks at
you.
him and goes, "Is that
Yeah.
No, well, because he says something because it has magic powers, and she goes, "Oh, do your ears have magic powers too?" And he goes, "What's that supposed to mean?" Don't worry about it.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you follow me here?
I'm good at following me. Got the nose for it.
People can't usually follow me if I don't want them to.
My nose has special powers.
Yeah? That why it's so?
What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. Do you have special powers too?
What are you trying to say?
Good night, mister.
Thank you for explaining that one to me. I knew it was there, but I just couldn't remember. The
He
whole
does
joke
have big
there.
ears.
He does have some big ears.
Yeah.
He knows it. It's fine.
They stick out.
And he says, "Who is the boy?" And she says that isn't a boy. And he was like, "Did it start about a month ago?" And she doesn't want to totally answer, but he's like, "Okay." And she's like, "It was a bomb, but it wasn't really a bomb. And the soldiers are guarding it, and there's barbed wire and stuff everywhere, so you're not going to be able to get in there. And you really should talk to someone first." And he says, "Who?" And she says, "The doctor." And I thought that was going to have something to do with Jack, and it doesn't. I thought it was going to have some sort of connection. I thought he was going. I thought he was going to be.
Would have been kind of funny, actually.
I thought he was going to be pretending to be the doctor, like he knows of the doctor.
Yeah.
So he like was trying to con something on Earth by pretending to be the doctor. That's where I thought it was going.
Yeah. Would that have made it better for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Jack asks if Rose is traveling alone and wants to know if she's empowered to make payment. And he makes Big Ben's lights turn on with his sonic screwdriver. It goes off and starts ringing. And he goes in to make a move. And she gets
kind of does.
She gets all hot and bothered by it. And then she even says, like, "Are you coming on to me?"
Like, are you sure this is the time to be coming on to me? I think she wanted him to, though, at this. It feels like it was a little bit of both. Like, oh, yeah, he's coming on to me, but are you sure we should be doing this?
She's all adrenalines and hormones, Rachel.
That's true. You're right.
According to the Slitheen. So
that's true.
He plays some Moonlight Serenade, and he asks her to dance. And I was like, is he going to push her off? I thought for a brief second, like, what the hell's happening here?
Oh, my God.
So he finally explains...
he's just being charismatic.
It's just charismatic. And then he finally explains to her that it's a Chula warship fell, and it's armed to the teeth, and if the agency can name the right price, he'll get it to them. But in 2 hours, the Germans are going to destroy it. So if they want it, they're going to have to act on it now.
Right. You know who he looks like? Tom Cruise.
Yes, I picked up on that a little bit, too. He's got a bit of Tom Cruise in him. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, other actors that he kind of, like, feels like a young Leonardo.
Yeah. But the...
Can't think of his last name.
DiCaprio.
Thank you.
Everyone knew who you were talking about, though. You didn't have to make
young Leo.
But the Tom Cruise thing, I definitely could see that,
yes.
Too. And,
yeah.
And
I think back then that he would have been, like, the...
Yeah, that same kind of...
A bit of a heartthrob.
Yeah, issue there.
Same issue, it's just the taste and...
Yeah.
You want that rugged.
Just for this character. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. That's fine.
Folks at home, let me know if I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong. I could fall in love with Jack Harkness. I'm just saying, like, right now,
we all could fall in love with Jack Harkness, because he would be in love with us.
He's a very handsome man. It's just not what I'm looking for.
I love that.
Oh God, where was I?
So they're dancing.
He says that he's a freelancer,
right?
And she says, "I bet you do." He thinks of himself as like a con man, and she says like,
"Yes." She says he's a freelancer, and he thinks of himself as like
a criminal.
As a criminal.
Yes.
He doesn't say he's a con man till later.
That's right. He says he's a criminal, which is only going to turn Rose on even more.
Because he's the bad boy.
That's right.
He's the bad boy with the good, like, charming baby face.
Right. Which Tom Cruise, that's the Tom Cruise type. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he asks to find her companion because he's like, "Oh, your companion." And that's why I thought, the way that he says that's why I thought he knew something about the doctor. Because he was like, I thought he was going to be like, "You're not the doctor. You're his companion." But I know about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's the way that he said it, like, your companion.
Right.
You know?
Right. But it's more of a companion.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a relationship then.
That's what he thought, yeah. Because that's the running gag here. The doctor goes to the hospital, or goes near the hospital where this thing has been quarantined off that he's been trying to find.
Yes.
And Daisy says that the doctor is in the hospital. And she really wants him to talk to the doctor first, because then you may not want to go and get the thing.
Right. You're not going to want to go near it or touch it or anything.
Also, good to point out, because you brought up the whole, like, I want more Spock thing.
Yes.
Rose is like, finally someone that's more Spock. I don't know if she says
does
it now
say
or
that
later, but she's like...
Very Spock, I think
Yeah.
is what she says
Well,
when
because-
they're in the ship together.
Right, and Jack doesn't know what that means. So
Yes.
that's how she finds out that he's not from Earth, and that he's
Yes.
not a time traveler, because he would know it. He's not. He didn't spend a lot of time in the 60s through today. 'Cause he
Sure,
doesn't know
he's
what
not
Spock
a full-time
means.
traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing some time jumping because he did go through the vortex.
That's fair. I just meant more like he's not. He doesn't know about Earth a lot. He's not very Earthbound.
Yeah.
So the doctor and Daisy, as we were saying, are talking, and the doctor wants to know who she lost, because he's like, there's no way that you would have done all this crap for all those kids without, like, having lost everything.
Yeah.
And she says it was her little brother. She went looking for food one day, and he followed, even though she said not to, and he got blown up.
Yep. Which is very sad.
Yeah, she's a tragic figure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's plenty of instances where this happened in London.
Absolutely. And it's very sad.
He goes into a patriotic rant about how he thinks it's impressive that they're able to stop the Germans, and he foreshadows that they're able to overcome the Germans.
I think he's trying to give her hope.
Some hope, yeah. And he even tells her to run
they're
off.
resilient.
Yeah, they're resilient. And he tells her to run off and save the world by, like, yeah, go on, go
One
do your
kid at a
thing,
time.
save the
Yeah.
kids. Like, that's
Right.
your role in this
Absolutely.
war, is to save
Yep.
the kids. They all had a role in that war, Rachel. Every last one of them.
I mean, the common man
Well, I mean,
is important. We know that.
and we are in World War II, which for Shelf Life is very important, because folks at home, if you don't remember, World War II is our favorite war.
That's right. Absolutely.
Because of all of these little stories that were told.
It's true. There's a lot of stories that coincide with World War II. A lot.
I think World War II is my favorite war.
I was waiting for that to come up at some point today. I knew it was gonna.
Well, I mean, it comes up. I think we talk about World War II at least once a volume. Let's
Weird.
Let's think about this. Small Soldiers. There was an episode of The Simpsons that did the Patton stuff, so I count that. That was all Volume 1. Volume 2? Did we not talk about World War II in Volume 2 at all?
Kevin's upset.
We might
gotta
not
go back.
have. We might not have. Volume 3 for sure.
For sure.
Because of,
12 Angry Men.
I was going to say Doom, because we had to talk about Castle
Doom.
Wolfenstein.
That's true too, yeah.
I guess we haven't talked about World War II a ton, because Philadelphia Experiment would have been the last time. But here it is
Definitely
again.
in the holiday.
And
Definitely in
X-Men.
the holiday.
Oh, at the holiday, for sure. So anyway,
Oh, I guess that's another person he kind of... Jude Law.
you think that Captain Jack seems like Jude Law?
Well, I'm just saying he's got a pretty boy face. He's not, like, gruff.
True.
But he has a bit of, like, that rough edge.
but
But
to
he's also
me-
pretty boy.
But to me, Jude Law exudes more of intellectual professor.
Are you just thinking of him as Dumbledore?
Yeah.
Because he's rougher then. God damn it.
But even in the holiday, he was like a dad.
Yeah,
so
you're right,
he had
he's
like
an-
a dad charm to him.
Yeah, he did. He really did. You're right. You're right. Never mind. I take it back. It's Tom Cruise, not Jude Law.
So anyway, the gas mask kid follows Daisy, and at the same time, the doctor is trying to get into the hospital. He breaks the lock. It looks like Arkham Asylum. This fucking
It
hospital.
does.
Like they
It
even
really
like
does.
pan out and show it, and I was like, "Is that a real hospital? Is Albion Hospital real?" But I don't think it is. I think it's just a Doctor Who creation.
Oh, probably. No, it's real.
It is.
Albion House Auxiliary Hospital was located at Albion House, Donington, and was staffed by Berkshire 44 Voluntary Aid Detachment and opened in December 1914.
Oh, okay.
It specialized in treating paralysis.
So like this would have been something that people would have known. The British would have known.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, that's interesting. I'm learning some history here. No, I like that. It's kind of fascinating. Anyways, it's real. It's real. That's all.
So he goes into this hospital. Inside, he finds a bunch of kids. I thought they were kids, but they're just people.
They're just people.
Bunch of people wearing gas masks on beds.
Yes,
and it
laying
is
in
eerie.
beds.
It does look eerie.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it is a very creepy atmosphere. It's a good atmosphere. Like we were saying, if it just would have like held together without these like tonal shifts, I think that would have worked a little better. But it does work. It does work as like a very creepy looking, eerie looking scene.
Yes. Because nobody's moving. Nobody's making any noise. They're just laying there.
Mm-hmm. You think they're dead.
Yes.
A doctor comes out. And he
An
says...
actual doctor comes out.
An actual doctor. I think he says his name is Dr. Constantine, which I thought, is that a reference to something, too? Like the name Constantine? Because I think of DC's Constantine, who's like a necromancer. So...
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting that it's like the doctor here and a necromancer and these creepy half-dead people.
Well, that's why I put it together that way, but I don't think that's what they were going for, but
I like
for me it works. So the doctor, Constantine, comes out and he says that there are hundreds of them, and he asks what he knows about the bomb, and the doctor says that the Constantine doctor, old man doctor, because it's this old man. He's got a cane. He's like he can barely move. And he says none of these were in the blast. And the doctor coughs and slips back. And he says, don't touch the flesh, but go and examine them and see if they all have, and see what you can see. Because he asks the doctor if he is a doctor. And he's like, yeah, I dabble. Like some people call me that.
I mean, that sounds like a serial killer sometimes, but that's fine.
I dabble, yeah. He looks at one victim at first.
Now the doctor is also the actual doctor. Constantine.
Doctor Who. Oh, okay.
Old doctor is coughing and like has to sit down, so he's just letting the doctor himself like walk around and look at these exams, patients. And he's looking at the masks, and they all have the cut on their hand as well.
Yeah, they all have the same injuries.
Which is the same shape, as you were saying. It is the same shape. It's that Y shape.
And the gas mask is fused onto their face, but there's no like burn or weld to have it be fused onto the face. It just is.
It just looks like it's a part of the face.
So the old man Dr. Constantine explains that at first it was just one victim, but everyone who treated him ended up having the same injuries, and the entire hospital got it.
Yes.
And he explains that it is physical injuries, but they're like the plague. It's physical injuries spreading like the plague.
Which is creepy to think about.
Yeah, it is. Because it's like if you broke your leg and then somebody broke your leg because you touched them. Like that would...
Yes!
Be
all of a sudden
creepy.
You just have all of the same physical issues.
It is a good horror movie-esque thing you could do, because like you could imagine doing this with sound effects and making it even creepier. So there is a thing that there's a rumor that in a minute a gas mask comes out of this guy's skull, and there was a rumor that in the original cut that there was a sound of his skull collapsing.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been something that you would see in a horror movie. Because it looks like a horror movie scene, but you don't hear it. And the writer, I think, in the commentary says like that they didn't actually do that. Like it got cut because it was too disturbing, and they were like, no, we never ever. Maybe it was thought that would be in there, but it never actually was put in or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Constantine has the mark on his hand. So he's got the mark of the plague. He's got the black spot.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yes. That does mark him.
Because he's like, what do you think the cause of death was? And doctor's like, head trauma, I don't know. And he lists off a couple of things, and he's like, there was no cause of death.
Nope.
Because they're not dead. And he
he just like slaps the table.
Yeah,
or
he like bangs the table.
On something.
And they all sit up. It is a...
Creepy.
It's a jump scare.
Undertaker sit up.
Yeah,
right?
they all do
like
the Michael Myers
sit up.
Yeah, and he says they all just sit there.
That's like a chill on your neck type of thing.
And it's a good chilling scene. The score doesn't help in this scene. I thought the score could have been more ominous and creepier.
More ominous and eerie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I don't think I feel like they
don't
were like,
want to go full
we
bore.
don't want to go full on, which is like, please do. I want that.
Just
I want some Doctor Who horror shit going on right now. It would be great.
I understand why they don't want to do that, because it's a family show, so they want to tone it down a little bit. But like, if they would have just gone a little further, they would have
Just
really had something good. Yeah.
Yes.
Constantine, the old man doctor, says, before the war, I was a father and a grandfather, and now I'm neither, but I'm still a doctor. Because Doctor Who asks him, like, why are you doing this if they don't move? And he said that's his answer. He's like, I'm not anything anymore except for a doctor, and these are patients. I have to help them.
Absolutely.
And the doctor says, yeah, I know the feeling. So, like your point, Rachel, like, he's thinking the same thing. I was a father, a grandfather, or whatever. Not anything anymore. I'm just...
But he is also a doctor.
Yes.
The doctor.
He says isolated cases are now breaking out all over London. And it's because of the kid. It's got to be because of
he's just
that
running
kid.
around.
Yeah.
He's grabbing onto people to find out if they're his mother and just accidentally causing the plague to spread.
So Constantine tells Doctor to go to the top floor, room 802, and then find Nancy again. Because Gas Mask Kid, the empty child, the titular empty child, is her brother. And she knows more, but she won't tell him. The old doctor starts to turn. A CGI face mask forms over his face in a truly unsettling moment.
Just a little bit, yeah. Well, like, the way he's contorting his mouth and his face, you can tell it's already trying to do this to him, and he's going, like, Mommy,
Those first few frames are very, very good. Even the CGI doesn't ruin it. It's when the gas
when it actually,
mask
like, starts
fully
to
forms.
like trickle in. Yeah.
But those first few moments where he says "mummy" and like the thing starts to come out, it's creepy. It's well done.
Yes.
But then he just lays there. Jack and Rose find the doctor. Jack and Rose, that's the Titanic names, aren't they?
Yes.
I didn't think about it until
it is.
Just said it. So in the next episode, is Jack just going to shout Rose like 20,000 times and try to...
Rose!
Rose! Rose! Jack! Jack!
Jack! Jack!
Maybe it was Jack and Rose. Are they going to die on the Titanic, Rachel? Does Jack Harkness die on the Titanic, Rachel? Is that...
We have talked that there might be a reference to the Titanic in Doctor Who. We have talked about that.
Do they do their own Futurama episode where they have the Titanic? Folks, that's on the list. Not a stay tuned, but it's on the list. I love that episode of the Futurama Titanic.
It's a good one.
So they find the doctor. Jack shakes the doctor's hand and Rose says, we had to say we are time agents. Or
he says, good to meet you, Mr. Spock.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And he's like, Mr. Spock.
And then Jack walks away for a second and she goes, he thinks we're time agents.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And
you don't have a name. What am I supposed to call you?
Yeah. And she's like, what do you want me to call you? Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Apparently it was originally
Which sometimes he uses John Smith.
Does he?
Yep.
I like Doctor Who.
Well,
Who
yeah,
could be a name?
I'm just saying if he uses a name...
Oh, it's like John Smith. Sure.
He'll use John Smith.
Sure. A fun little moment. I think that's the first time someone refers to him as Doctor Who, except for the first episode. I think we heard it as well. Or Dr. What?
Potentially.
I think is what he says. But
there might be potentially,
go listen to our...
Jackie might say it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Mickey might say it.
Go listen to our first episode on Doctor Who. I think we
let me know.
Let Rachel know what she said.
Remind me.
What was I supposed to say? You don't have a name. Don't you ever get tired of Doctor? Doctor Who?
It's his chosen name. That's what he gets.
And then she says, and what's a Chula warship? And he stops for a second, and he's like, Chula warship? We go back to Nancy now, and she's back in the house to grab food. And her brother follows her in.
Yes.
Because she forgot to close the
Mommy,
door. How do you forget
How
do you forget to close the door if you're Nancy?
I think because she was in a rush because she wanted...
Wait, I wrote
the
Nancy.
actual air raid was
Nancy
probably...
or is it Daisy?
I thought it was Nancy.
I've been calling her Daisy.
I know, and now I guess, oh shit, because you have been calling her Daisy this whole time, and I didn't catch it. I was like, oh, is it Daisy? I guess in my head, I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was Daisy, and I didn't remember her name when you said that originally, so now, okay. I mean, you did.
It's Nancy.
So even the doctor says, like, I don't know why you thought it was Daisy, and sorry I didn't correct because I didn't think about it. But the doctor, the old man doctor, you even said you have to find Nancy because it's her brother Jamie.
Folks, I don't know.
Catch it that either.
Folks, I honestly have no idea why I did that.
Where did Daisy come from?
I don't know, because I'm looking through my notes, and I'm trying to find if I ever called her Daisy.
Did you
I
just
don't know
come
where I
up with
came
that?
with that name. No, I did. I was calling her Daisy in my notes, and then I just changed it to Nancy. I don't know. What do you want from me? So anyway, I apologies to Nancy, the fictional character in the Doctor Who episode The Empty Child. Nancy
Mommy
is trying to hide from her brother Jamie.
That's
and
correct.
She goes and hides under a table, which is just the most horror movie thing you can do, and it's also the dumbest thing you can do. Shut the damn door.
You're hiding from a child, so maybe
Shut
it's...
the damn door.
Close the fucking door!
Yes, thank you, Rachel.
Well, I mean, I think she was rushing because the air raid was probably, like, felt like it was going to wrap up soon, because she's probably, like, got these things kind of timed out at this point. She knows what the hell she's doing. So maybe she's just like, I gotta do this quick. I gotta get the food so I can get out of here. It was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Mistake. It's a bad mistake. That's from that Red Letter Media movie where they watch with the werewolves, where the guy goes, mistake. I can't remember. Sorry, cut that. Jack.
No.
Jack is in the room with Rose and the doctor, and he's like, he can't figure out what's wrong with these people either. And the doctor's like, well, what the hell was the thing? And Jack's
Jack seems more freaked out by it.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't know, all it was an ambulance. Guys, you didn't put this together that it's like some sort of space virus, right? Like, I'm putting that together. Like, if it was an ambulance that fell, it probably had some sort of space plague.
Ooh, space plague.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I like that. Yeah.
But because
you gotta put these things together.
Jack's like, all that was really on the thing that they were following was space junk. It was just like an empty vessel. There was like nothing in it.
Yeah, he was conning them. This is the point where he says, I was conning you.
Yeah, he was trying to con them. It was just bait. He wanted to destroy it before they could find out that it was just junk, and he was just trying to get like money.
That was
from
the point of putting where it was, because the bomb is actually supposed to land on it.
Right. This is where he's like, I thought just that you were time agents, and Rose is like, no, we're freelancers just like you. Doctor thinks that human DNA is being rewritten, but he's like, well, what is the point? Like, what is the point of like having this be rewritten with like gas masks on and shit? Right.
Yes.
Nancy's brother comes into the dining room.
He does say it's like it's being written by an idiot.
Yes. It's like it's being rewritten by an idiot. Yeah. Nancy's brother comes into the dining room, and he goes to grab an apple that falls. It's like a weird zombie movie. It is a zombie movie. I mean, that's really what they're going for.
Right.
He stops her from being able to leave. Like, he shuts the door with his mind or whatever. Like, his mind powers.
Now it's Carrie?
He does. He telekinetically closes the door on her. And all he's doing is saying, like, Mummy, and like,
Mummy,
slowly going toward him. And all I'm thinking is, throw a fucking chair at him, for Christ's sake.
I mean, it is your brother.
She's like, just throw a chair.
Yeah,
Rachel,
I know, she keeps saying it's a monster.
I'm telling you right now, Rachel, I hope this isn't foreshadowing anything.
in the
but
real
if you were
world,
coming at me as a zombie, I would be throwing things at you.
Well, I would be throwing things at you regardless, even if you weren't a zombie. But that's not the point. It's a child.
And then we get a insert jump scare sound.
Well, now because now all of the patients jump up.
Yes.
Insert jump scare.
Yes.
And are going, Mummy! Mummy!
Right, and the doctor thought that none of them could move, so now it's weird. And they all start to surround.
They're walking towards them.
The second or third time at this point, some sort of thing has taken over people's bodies.
Touch you. Yeah.
Taken over people's bodies and surrounded our heroes in The Unquiet Dead. It happened. And kind of the mannequins.
Yeah.
In the first one.
Yeah, but there wasn't like a cliffhanger.
No.
This is where it leaves you on a cliffhanger.
It does. That's how that one ends. Right there at that moment. Where they're being surrounded and they're being all the people are saying mummy.
Yes.
Which is
mummy,
very zombie-esque as well.
Right.
It's a good creepy ending. Very good. The way that they do that. And hey, no next week on Doctor Who. Finally,
because they don't want to spoil
finally
it.
Figured it out to not spoil it. So yes, that is the ending of The Empty Child, which is, of course, a part 1 of 2 because it ends on that cliffhanger because they don't want to spoil anything.
Exactly.
Rachel, I will tell you what I thought about this one. I liked it enough. I thought that this one was good, but let's see how it concludes. I almost feel like I have to wait for the next episode, which I think is called The Doctor Dances.
The Doctor Dances, yes.
Okay, to be able to say what I thought of both of these together. But I thought that the atmosphere in the horror-esque parts of it was good. It was better than like the Unquiet Dead zombie-esque scenes, or whenever they've dipped their toe into being a little creepy. This actually, I think, accomplished that. And a creepy little kid is always going to be creepy, and it's cliche.
Of course.
But that World War II aesthetic, I think, helps. The gas masks help. And saying mummy and all of those things, like, it felt eerie and unsettling. So I think that all worked for it. So I liked it enough, but we'll see how they stick the landing on it.
Sure. And, I agree. I feel like giving the opinion after the full story is given is probably better.
Sure.
But I do like this. I like the creepy feelings. And I do like the introduction to Charming Jack.
Shaman Jack.
Which is not a simple Jack.
Because of Jeff Portnoy.
Yeah.
It's so sad how your brain works.
Anyways, I do like the feeling of the introduction to Charming Jack. Because he seems kind of like you just kind of want to know a bit more about him. He feels like, he was lying to you, so you want to know more about him and, like, what he's all about and what he's going to, like, play a role here. So it's interesting. I like the cliffhanger, and I'm curious what's going to happen in the next one.
Even though Rachel knows what happens.
Even though I know what happens.
So yes, we will continue with more of Doctor Who Series 1 next time, where we will find out the exciting conclusion of the World War II creepy child saga.
Creepy child saga.
Next time on Shelf Life. Until then, I've been Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this has been Shelf Life. Keep watching the skis. I mean skies. It's from The Simpsons. Simpsons joke. I don't know. Mummy!
Mummy!
Where's my mummy? Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy?
I'm not your goddamn mummy! Just find somebody to shout that.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Sorry, there was hello twice there. Dull, but, thorough.